Hello, people, and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It is Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time for Ashmatic Analysis. Look, before we start, Bournemouth have lost, Villa have lost. Okay, Fulham have won. Right, so we're kind of safe there, and Chelsea have won. But top four on, innit?
How the Spurs turn the corner. People, hey, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm just saying, listen, have Spurs turn the corner because, boy, the competitors are falling. They're looking mad inconsistent. Spurs in all competitions have won 5 in a row. Imagine that. I can't believe I'm saying that. And City are a bogey team. You know what I'm saying? So, and to top it all, we've got a longer rest than Bournemouth. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Don't shoot me. Look, I'm not here to be positive. I'm not here to do all of that. I'm just stating some facts. Yeah.
Look. No. Look, we could tell everyone why we're positive. We can blatantly tell everyone. Look, we were there on Saturday. We were there at Ipswich on Saturday. We got to see it all unfold in front of our eyes. So we are, for the next week, we are going to be positive as anything until tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Big up the Spence family as well. I was going to go and say hi, hey, but I got a bit shy still. I can't lie.
I should have said, man. I'd have gone.
Yeah, no, you were like, I was like, right, Spence family there. You're like, so? I was like, all right, cool. I left it, innit? And then I see the internet's gone mad. Oh, look. Have you seen the video of Spencer's mom there? I was like, we could have just done that. We could have just gone over there because I see them there. And I was like, rah, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? I see you with a Spence t-shirt. I could say, yo, mumsy, you good? But yeah.
Did you see that the guy interviewed basically Vicario's mum and dad and then interviewed Spence, and he had no clue. He had no clue at all that he was interviewing them. That's what's the madness of that is, because it's so genuine that he doesn't know and he's asking them questions. And Djed Spence's mum, oh my god, what a lady, one absolute lady, and Vicario's mum, both of them. You know what? In certain situations, you got to just give them credit where credit's due. But it is what it is, isn't it? But anyway, should we bring out our guest tonight?
Yeah, man, bring him out, man. Bring him out.
Look, because Spurs are winning, it's been a bit calm over the last few weeks. So, and I really want Ash to actually break down the tactics today. So we're gonna bring out one man to help us go.
The one day I don't do it, you know. All right, I'll break it down anyway.
We need to break it down, but let's have a big welcome because it's been a while since I've seen him about. But Josh, you well?
How are we doing, lads? How are we doing?
We are good. How are you? How are you?
I'm better now that I'm on this channel back again. Seeing you guys, seeing your lovely faces again. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Big up. I want to kind of get straight into it. I don't even want to do this whole breakdown thing because I personally been watching a lot of Spurs channels lately, and everyone's been talking about the post-match, this, that, whatnot. I want to talk about the front three straight away. Front three.
Oh, mate, I want to talk about straight away.
Come on. We don't mess around, man. I know you get tired, man. I know you get real tired. So let me just skip this part. But can we talk about Johnson? Can we talk about Johnson first, and then we'll move on to Son, and then we'll move on to Tel, because there's been a lot of stereotypes. There's been a lot of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. There's been a lot of agendas. There's a lot of "I told you so's" in and around the community. I just want to know, Josh, what are your thoughts on Johnson, bro?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. He's not again the most beautiful player. He's not the finished player, but I feel like what we've all been saying this season is the most important thing is goals. And he's got like 9 goals, 2 assists in the Premier League. And if you think about it, he's the type of player that you expect him to beat his man. He doesn't do it often, but you expect him to do it. You expect him to be at the end of these balls that Heung-min Son puts in, or if the wing back puts in. You expect him to be at the end of it. And he's got the goals. He's providing the goals. Yes, I do want to see a bit more of match influence. See him influence the match a bit more than just get the goals. But look, ultimately, he's getting goals. We can't really complain about it. Like I said beforehand, the most important part for me is that he needs to influence the match a lot more. And to have two wingers, yes, on against Ipswich, Son was a big part of that win. But to have two wingers who are very inconsistent in terms of influencing the match and an Ange Postecoglou side is a big problem. So if Brennan Johnson is at least scoring some goals here and there, now back from injury, give a massive boost for us.
Well, I just want to ask a question on the back of that. Would you then, knowing that we're going to play Man City, and I'm going to talk about City later, but would you start Johnson then, off the back of what you just said against City?
100%. I think what Tottenham Hotspur are very good at against Manchester City, especially against Manchester City, and I know you're going to do a bit of the tactical breakdown very soon, but if we have a look at the Man City build-up in terms of how their defensive shape is without the ball, they have Rico Lewis, more of an inverted player, inverted fullback, than Gvardiol usually at the time, and that would allow space for Son to come in. Now, why I'm talking about Son is because Johnson needs to get past Gvardiol in order to get at the end of these crosses. Now, if Son has 1 foot ahead of Rico Lewis in this battle, one ball into Brennan Johnson, I trust Brennan Johnson's going to be that. I do trust that. I just don't trust he's going to be able to finish it. And that's why you're looking at the likes of Kulusevski, who's going to be having to play a massive role in terms of helping Brennan Johnson influence the match. Because it can't just all be on Johnson individually to influence the match. He's got to get help from Kulusevski and the right back.
So Alpesh is asking, like, who would you rather have then? Would you rather have Kulu in the midfield, Johnson out wide, or would you rather have drop Johnson and then have Kulu up top? Or like, how would you form it? Would you play Kulu top, Sonny and John either side? That's what he's asking actually. What would you do? Who would be your front three?
I'll tell you, for me, it would be Son, Tel, and then I personally would go for Kulusevski personally. For several reasons, I can give you two right now off the bat. One being Johnson off the bench with his pace could be a vital moment for us in terms of getting 3 points or getting no points. And Kulusevski with his physicality against Gvardiol, it's going to be a massive weakness if we don't have any physicality in that wing. A massive weakness for us. Because Kulusevski, yes, as much as we can say he adds to that midfield with his physicality, yes, he is great in that midfield. He doesn't have to play as a winger like Johnson does so wide. He can drop deep into that midfield and have an extra body in that midfield. So personally, for me, I'd go for Kulusevski on the right and bring in Johnson for super sub.
Marlon, what are you saying? Do you think that's the right way to go and start with Kulusevski up top, or would you use it different? Would you use Johnson? Obviously, he started on the weekend when we saw him, and he wasn't really much involved. We did see him breathing heavily on the way back when he was told to get back. But yeah, what do you think is the right way for Johnson? Like, do you think all the heat he's been getting is necessary, or do you think the goals he provides is something that you can't buy really in terms of a forward player? Is it me or I can't hear anyone? Is it me?
He's on mute.
Yeah, on mute. Hold on. Yeah, sorry. When it comes to Johnson, he confuses me. And why he confuses me is because I've watched football for over nearly 40 years. Yeah. And I don't get it. He's a guy that I'd go, he's not very good on the ball. He can't run. He can't dribble. But his movement in that box is probably one of the... He could be up there. And that's the weirdest thing. I can't believe I'm saying this. The fact he's always in the right place at the right time, you can't teach that. That's one thing you can't teach. And he just seems to have... And it's called that football intelligence of being in the right place at the right time. But the thing is, and that's why we expect so much of him, because the rest of his game is awful. He can't really cross. He can't, when he's got the ball at his feet, he doesn't really do anything with it. But the fact in those two positions that he scored, like the first goal is bread and butter, Brennan Johnson. But I don't think people realise how good the second goal was against Ipswich, because he sees what Son's about to do. He hangs, and then he moves into that position. And that means the two Ipswich defenders have gone towards, and their mind now is switched to Son. They haven't even watched what's going on. And I get why people say this. Actually, I agree with Alpesh, sorry. I agree with him. But the problem is, he's always tapping in. If you've got 20 tappings and he's scoring 20 goals in a season worth of tappings, you're not complaining with that. You're going to go, because at the end of the day you buy players to score goals, and that's exactly what he's doing. And
yeah, I was going to say, if he was centre forward, would people still be saying tap in, tap in? If Solanke's getting tap ins, are we saying the same thing? Do you know what I mean? If we're being fair,
this is the problem. And I think this is the issue, because we've been so spoiled. We've been spoiled the last 5 years, even longer. We have been spoiled for wingers with Son because of how good he was, and we've been spoiled with Kane. And there's been a massive drop off, and that's the thing. But when it comes to Brennan Johnson, why does he score so many goals in this system? Why? Because a lot of people say it's the system that suits him, but that's exactly what we need. When we're complaining about players coming in and they don't suit the system, but Brennan Johnson completely suits it. So I'd be starting Brennan Johnson, unfortunately, but you've got to be able to, and this is where it comes key. You can't start him with Porro.
right?
Him and Porro, and what we have learned over the last 6 months, probably longer than that, them two together defensively is no good, because Brennan doesn't see the defensively when it's about to go wrong as much as Kulu will help out, and even Son helps out. Doggy on the left hand side and helps out Spence. Where what we saw on Saturday, and I think this is what's key to what I'm about to say. Djed Spence and Brennan Johnson could be that Ben White and Saka combination, where the combination is better than the two players in that position. And everyone is always talking about Saka playing for England. Not Saka. Talk about Ben White playing for England. But Ben White can only play if Saka's there. Ben White's useless without Saka, because Saka is that elite. And I think this what we saw on Saturday could be the future, where Djed Spence is more the better player, and he's going to help out Brennan Johnson, which means Brennan Johnson doesn't have to come back as much, because Brennan is a better Djed, get my names right here. Djed is such a better defender than. But again, it's because I can't really comment on Brennan Johnson, because I don't get it. I just don't get why he scores so many goals. It really confuses me.
Are we saying that he's got a higher IQ than Kulu in terms of no, because look, let's talk about it. Let's get into it, because listen, he's the only player that's arriving at the box at the right time, that's not getting offside. Because I've seen Son get offside. I've seen Richarlison get offside. Do you know what I'm saying? I've seen so many players get offside. I haven't seen Johnson. I can't really think how many times he's been offside this season. I have to get out my book and check the stats, because I can't really remember. So is he elite in ghosting and not being picked up? Because like you said, the first goal was a tap in, but the second goal he actually peels off. Do you know what I mean? He actually peels off the defender, which throws the actual defenders off, because they're going to attack the line thinking he's going to be there. He's peeled off. Lucky for us, Son's got his head up, looked up, and he's seen Johnson. He's able to pass it, and then Johnson's finished with his instep. Now, I would say the keeper should be doing better there, in my opinion.
I thought the keeper should be doing. I wanted to be with the goalkeeper's unit, but I thought he should have been doing better.
But we've seen Johnson in those type of areas this season not just do tap-ins, he's done like finishes with the side foot or the instep of his boot, and he's put those goals away in that particular zone in those second area. Am I saying Johnson's elite in terms of a wing on what we need or the profile? No. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I saying he's a player that you could probably say he's a forward that arrives from the wide positions? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Almost like a false forward, if you want to say it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why lots of because like for Nottingham Forest, let's face it, he was playing as a forward, wasn't he? And sometimes on the wing. And even if you look at when he was playing for Lincoln, him and Morgan Rogers, he used to play up top. Rogers would feed him, and he had a loan stint from Nottingham Forest to Lincoln, and he got lots of goals coming off that right-hand side and just blitzing his way through and finishing goals. Do you know what I mean? But I think the reason why so many fans are mad is because they know he has the potential to actually take his man on, because he has so much pace. And he's not a bad dribbler. He just doesn't do it. He just likes to carry the ball up the pitch, but he doesn't want to be aggressive go on the outside and take him on his man. But I did see one quick thing before I finish up on Johnson. I did see when he was on the left, sometimes he would use his right foot to cut in a lot. I remember against Aston Villa, I don't know if he scored a goal, but against Aston Villa last season, when he was on the left, he dribbled past his man using his right foot. And we see a lot of the wingers, for example, Odebert's really good with his right foot, beating his man on the left-hand side. Son also likes to go on his right foot to beat his man. Do you know what I mean? So we've got so many players that are right-footed that can only play left wing. Do you know what I mean? And Johnson's the only player at the moment, other than maybe Kulusevski, who's naturally a left-footed player that could go inside. And yeah, I just thought, yeah, I want to get into this actually. Like, I want to bring this up as well. Toxic Headshot, he said that long balls suit our players. And
before you get into that, I just want to ask Josh one quick question. Because obviously, I think from what everyone said, do you think because obviously we've now sort of said what we said about Brennan Johnson, do you think that it's Ange's tactics that suit Brennan Johnson more than probably the rest of our players, hence the reason why he's getting most of the goals? Or do you think actually his movement, because he's shown it before us that his movement into the box is very good, but it's just the rest of his game that why a lot of Spurs fans expect so much more?
I think when you look at it, it's Ange's tactics 100% suits Johnson, but it's not necessarily just Johnson. If you look at the amount of times Son should score goals, his XG should be much higher. It's a fact. The amount of times balls have come into Son, and he should have scored goals. I mean, these tactics that Ange usually puts out in terms of low ball cross to the wingers should be finishing. It's a very, very simple ball to just put it back in the net, but usually we don't finish them. We don't. And it's not necessarily, I think, just a Brennan Johnson type of thing. I also think if a ball comes into the likes of Kulusevski, Son, whoever it is, they should be finishing these balls because they're very, very simple ones and they train on it quite a fair amount. Now, I just want to talk for 1 second about the Johnson IQ thing. I feel like when you look at a player, and it's a similar idea to Son. Now, do you want a player that can influence the match, can have a good game all round, might not necessarily get a goal, but he'll have an influence on the whole match and get other people goals, assist to other people, or him himself be ghosting for the whole match and then potentially get a goal? There's a potential. I don't know. It's just the way you look at it. Personally, I would rather have someone influence the match like a Kulusevski who might not necessarily get the goal, but he will 100% give an assist, 100% influence the match in terms of his physicality than Brennan Johnson, where he might, appear once or twice, but for around 85 minutes of the match, we're going to be going mental with the fact that he didn't pass the ball to the striker or defending.
So would you prefer, like, for example, Liverpool beat Man City 2-0, Doku had Trent on ice? Do you know what I'm saying? Trent, he didn't have a look in that game. However, everything Doku did, it ended up in pretty much nothing. Like, he beat his fullback time and time again. But then you look at Johnson, who's not doing what Doku's doing. Like, aesthetically, he's not looking pleasing. But then Johnson's getting all the goals. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and goals, as Lucas says, wins you games. So what would you prefer? Would you prefer someone that aesthetically looks really good, step overs, drops the shoulder, beats a man?
Of course goals, but we're talking about two different players. We're talking about one player who Doku he didn't influence the game in terms of assisting or scoring, and we're talking about Kulusevski, who, if it's not an assist, it's a pre-assist. If it's not a pre-assist, it's a goal. He influences the match in terms of so much that because of his creativeness, because of his, whatever, there's a goal. And yes, of course, I'd much rather Brennan Johnson in terms of goals, in terms of output, in terms of everything, because I feel like Brennan Johnson literally is influencing the match. But I mean, you touched over there, Jeremy Doku. I'm sure we're going to get onto that whole fullback debate in a minute. But Jeremy Doku, he's a nightmare. He's a nightmare.
I want to talk about, because the front three, I still want to stay on that, and I want to speak about Tell, in your opinion. Is he a player for you long term that we look at, considering how he played over the last 3 or 4 games? Like, what is your impression of the young guy?
Look, I think it's important for us Tottenham fans not to get too crazy about this. I think you can see the idea, you can see the reasoning behind what he brings to the team, really. And it's as simple as that goal, the goal he scored for us. As a striker, he's a very energetic striker and someone who we really, really need. Someone to help push the team in terms of pressing, because a striker, it's like Solanke. A striker is not all about goals. It's how you influence the match. For me, he's been pressing unbelievably. He's been coming back to defend quite a lot as well. As a striker itself, he's been more threatening than the likes of Richarlison, than the likes of Son. So for me, I tell you what, obviously I would like him to get a goal or two now. He scored the first goal already. I want to see him a bit more, climbing the ranks in terms of goals and assists. But I'm happy for what he's been showing us so far. I really am.
But isn't your job as a striker to score goals? And obviously he's been brought on loan and he hasn't got very long, because we're already in March now. Pretty much call it March. Obviously, we've got City next tomorrow, but he's got about 3 months, March, April, May. He's got 3 months to to score goals as a striker. Like, what is expect for your standards? Like, and obviously we've seen the likes of Kane, etc. But you're looking at next season now, and you're judging him before you make that purchase. That purchase is 55 million. Do you think he's a type of player that's going to help us to? Because also, what is your standards as a fan? Like, what do you expect from Tottenham Hotspur? I know we can't say Tottenham anymore. It has to be Tottenham Hotspur. So, yeah, what is your expectation as a fan? Are you thinking, Europa is good enough? Are you a Champions League type of fan? You expect minimum is Champions League because that's where you see Spurs? Is it players that are going to help you win cups, go deep in the cups? Do you know what I mean? And that's your expectation. Is it to win cups? Like, what's your expectation, and how many goals do you expect from your centre forward? And you can even talk about Solanke in this as well. Oh, God.
I'll be honest. I think let's talk about for a second about the goals. I think in terms of goals, what's important to notice is the difference between the likes of Tottenham goals and Arsenal goals, for example. Arsenal, they've been relying on Saka way too much, and in terms of that striker, way too much. They haven't shared the goals around their attackers. I feel like we've been doing it very, very nicely. I think we have like 5, 6 players with over 10 goal contributions this season already, and it shows a lot in terms of what Ange tactics is all about. Now, for a striker in an Ange Postecoglou team, I want to just say for a second, give him a whole season for a second. If he has a whole season, a striker in this Tottenham Hotspur team, okay, should be getting between 15 to 18 goals around. Should be in this Ange Postecoglou team where we talk about attack day and night. We only talk about attack. He should be getting, or not he, Tell, a player who's an attacker striker, Solanke, Tell, 15 to 18 goals a season. This is the whole season. Now, bear in mind, Tell, he's new, takes him a couple, time to get involved. I want to see at least 10 goal contributions, something along those lines, because, like I said, a team like Ange with 15 plus goal xG goal difference, I think 10 goals is not hard to ask from a striker like Tell. And in terms of where I stand, where Tottenham, I said it from the beginning of the season. All I want to see is improvement from the previous season. That's all I want to see. Now, if we do bad one season, we end 8th. The following season, I need to see us improve. I need to see us go above 8th. I don't want to see us go anywhere below 8th. And
what was your expectation of the start of the season? Sorry to cut you. What was your expectation of the start of the season?
Bear in mind that we had a goal, we had a game in hand. We had an extra game because of the Europa League. And previous season we didn't have an extra game of the week, so I said 6th. And I think I said semi-final of the Europa League. So
you expected us to finish lower than where we finished last season, as a fan?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think? 100%. And that's because we had an extra game. Because I remember Ange saying that the reason why we got 5th was because it was a lack of games. Actually, he said sometimes you need a bit more rhythm, and I think the extra game will help us. and now all of a sudden we've got extra games, and now he's like, oh, we're overloaded, we've got too many games. Do you know what I mean? So the reason why I'm asking it, because I'm saying his expectation versus fans' expectation versus the board's expectation. I'm just trying to get a gauge of where Spurs fans what's our floor, meaning like what's the bottom level where you're like, oh, things have got to improve, otherwise I'm looking at the manager sideways. Do you know what I mean? What's your breaking point essentially is what I'm asking, isn't it? And then yeah, go on, start
with Ange.
Yeah, just with Ange. Yeah, with Ange.
Mate, I was Ange out when we were 15th. I'll be honest, and I think it's too late now to sack him. But I was Ange out. I've been Ange out for the past 2 months. If that's the title you want to get for this little video, but I'm Ange out. I've been Ange out for the past 2.5 months. I'll be honest. I'm sorry if any of you guys here are Ange in, but I think it's almost not stupid, but a bit delusional to keep a manager who has done so badly with all these injuries. He knew we were going to have some injuries here and there. Yeah, sure, we didn't know we were going to have this many, but he knew we were going to have injuries. He knew it. And he was the same guy who put Forster in the Europa League squad ahead of Djed Spence. Let's clarify that, yeah? He's the same manager that has gotten us to 15. He's the same Donny. It's the same guy. Yes, mate, It's him. Look, I think the way I stand this manager, he's lucky he's got this Europa League. He's lucky, because the protest about leaving will be about him next time. I promise you. He's lucky.
Hey, Marlon, where do you talk? Where do you stand on this?
You're an Anjin guy, aren't you?
Me? Oh no! Wait, hold on. Let me ask Marlon. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me ask Marlon on this whole Tell situation, the striker business. Like, where do you sit on it? Like,
look, it was always going to be difficult for Tell to hit the ground running in a team that's crumbling at the time when he came in. We weren't doing well. So it's always going to be difficult for him to even hit 10 goals. He's got, 12 games left now in the Premier League. I'm not going to count Europa League for a second. He's got 12 games left, and he's only had one. No, he's had 2 Premier League games, right?
Yeah, one was in the cup. One was in the cup against Villa.
2 were in the cup. Yeah, 2 were in the cup, and then we had. We played. Yeah, so he's had 2 games in the league, respectively. So he had 14 games. What do you expect a striker to score in 14 games? That towards when he came in, towards the end of the season. For me, I need a minimum. I'm going to be more realistic, and I need a minimum of 5. I need to see him score at least 5 goals. I don't think that's hard.
Is that not including the one he scored already, or is that on top of what he's done already? Because he scored a goal against Villa, of course, last minute.
No, yeah. I'm not including Villa.
Is that league goals as well? Is that league goals or is that total?
This is 5 league goals. 5 league goals. That's why I'm not including the Europa League. I'm not including the Villa goal. I'm only looking at Premier League football.
So just on that, 5 league goals.
That's all
he's going to cost us 55 million. Is that enough for you to say that warrants that price for a striker?
Depends on how these 5 goals are scored.
What does that mean? To break that down to
because
me.
He's trying to settle into a team right now that he's playing a central striker. He's having the same issues that Solanke had all season, because everyone was complaining about Solanke. But yeah, Solanke has scored 11 goals for Spurs this season. I know that's not all Premier League, but he's scored 11 goals. But everyone's going, Solanke should be, he should be in the box. Where my problem becomes with the whole Tell situation is, I don't think our wingers create enough for our striker. So you're probably gonna see that Tell's goals will come either from Kulu, because Kulu will put it in the box, or Porro. But the other goals that he will have to score will be by himself. You just take Sunday for a prime example. All our wingers want to get to the byline and cross it in. So the striker has to make that movement to bring the 2 defenders out to allow the 2 wingers to get that space. So if Tell can get at least 5 goals, I know it's a lot of money for 54 million, like you're saying, but if he can get at least 5 goals and get settled into the system, who knows?
Wouldn't you guys rather, and I'm not saying this is realistic, but there's players out there in the market, would you not take that 55 million and maybe like another 10 on top, and get you like a striker that can really compete with Solanke, because Solanke at the moment, as you said, has similar issues where
But it's not about it's when you say 54 million, you've got to remember this is Harry Kane change. This is the stuff. Yeah. So this is about writing off. So when we say 54 million, we're not actually spending 54 million.
Very
I don't know
true.
how much we're gonna. I don't know how much of that we're gonna lose, and obviously lose from that coming in. So
This is it. This is the question.
yeah,
This is what we have to
the
get
price
into.
will be and this is where we have to get away from, because as we said, Bayern Munich still owes for Harry Kane, so it's not like we can go and spend that money. So if that's what they're thinking is actually, if we're not going to get that money coming in, it means that there's money has to be coming in from elsewhere for them to go, okay, if I said to you it's 54 million for Tel, but what's going to happen is that you're going to get 60 to 70 million pounds on a DM, or you're going to get the guy from Dortmund, I don't know how to say his name, Gittins.
Yeah, Gittins, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So say you're getting Tel and Gittins together, plus a DM. Actually, when you look at the bigger picture of it, you can see why they went for Tel, because it's technically cost Spurs nothing, absolutely nothing to bring him in. So
go on.
But on the balance sheet and everything like that, it's going to look like we spent 54 million when realistically we haven't.
We're just writing off the Kane money, basically.
Us selling any players. Yeah. That's without us selling any players, nothing.
Yeah. But is that standard of level? Is that acceptable? Do you know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying, that basically it's a free player. It's a free player essentially. But is that acceptable from the fans? Like, especially if people, because I personally look at Tel, and I think he's more of a Son mold than a Solanke mold. Because when I was watching him in the flesh against Ipswich, and I know fans saw it on TV as well, I was looking up for that kind of hold up play, the link play. And when I did my analysis on him earlier, and we had that show a few weeks back, that was one thing I did identify. His hold up play isn't quite there yet as of a striker. And when he has thrived, I remember when he came against us in the friendly, he was always coming off that left and causing us issues. And I see him more off the left forward, do you know what I mean? As opposed to a number 9 striker that's going to pin his centre back. A bit like how we saw Liam Delap pin Archie Gray and turn him. I didn't think you're going to see that from Mattel. That's not really in his DNA, his makeup. He's more of a player that he couldn't
turn Danzo, did he?
Oh wow. Agendas have to again, bro. Like, listen, I don't know.
My agenda against Djed Spence might start soon. Not Djed Spence against Archie Gray.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I just don't see Tel. Like, I see, like, it's like, when you put Sonny up top, Sonny can't really hold that ball up, and his link play isn't the greatest in that central role. But coming off, like we saw it with Kane, when Kane was in the middle, Kane would drop deep, the ball would stick to Kane, and Kane would turn like a tractor, but then he would find that ball, boom, Son's on his bike, because he knows already that ball's going to be pinpoint like a missile. It's going to hit his foot. And I see Tel in that mode, but then you've already got Sonny there, and you've also got the youth player that we're trying to promise a pathway to, that everyone loves, Mikey Moore. So Mikey Moore there on the left, and also what we've now seen is Wilson Odobert. Wilson Odobert, he's a player I think suits off the left more than on the right. Do you know what I mean? And he can play on the right, but I just feel like when he's coming off the left, he just looks a lot more comfortable, in my opinion. Sorry, go on, Josh.
No, I completely agree with you. I think all these players that you mentioned are absolute weapons. I mean, look, the way I see it, and fans might disagree with me, I don't know. I think Levy and Ange are trying to build a team for 2026, 27. They're looking 2-3 years ahead. You look at all of our players. I mean, if we're talking about Lucas Bergvall in a couple of years, we're looking at Archie Gray in a couple of years, Odobert. I mean, let's bring in Tel, for example, Kulusevski, Romero. But I'm telling you, all these players, if you give them 2 extra years, I mean, they are building an outstanding team. Now, whether or not the level will continue being in that standard, It's up to them, honestly. It's up to them. You look at our fullbacks. Our fullbacks, just individually, our fullbacks. Puro, Spence, and Udogi. Quality. We got a quality team. 2 reasons we need to look at for the summer. Okay, it's the injuries. Okay, we need to deal with it as soon as possible. And spend our money cleverly. You know, I know this could be jokes and all that, but we actually have we have a team that could do something incredible, and this could be our potentially in the next 2 years. This could be our best team since the 2015-16 season. It really could be. It really could be. Now is money time. It's money time now in order to get those players that the DM we need to get. We need to get that. We need to get that extra winger. We need to get that extra strike. You need to finish off the puzzle. We're almost there.
Josh, quickly on that. You say we got the players for the future and it could be better than 2015-16. Do we have the coach to do it though? Because you just said you wanted him gone.
100%. I'll be completely honest with you. 100% not. And whether fans agree with me or not, to be honest, I couldn't care less because we don't have the right manager. Look. We all know. Again, I know. Ash, you're trying to hold up that full back discussion. So I'm not going to talk about that.
No, go for it, bro. I ain't hold back nothing, man. Go for it.
Okay. No, so what I feel like this manager is going to do, and it's simple things. This Ipswich game, everyone's giving credit to Son, and fair play. He did very, very well. But if you're a smart manager, and you know now that Son is about, he's rested, but he's about to play against City, one of the best teams in the world. Yes, their form are horrific, whatever, doesn't matter. They're one of the best teams. You don't play Son against Ipswich. You give the poor lad, Mikey Moore's on his knees begging for game time. Look at him, honestly. And the manager doesn't give him. Now, for me, the manager's shown too many weaknesses to his game. It's just suicide.
So you don't think the manager can go on a run from here? Because we could, like I said at the beginning, potentially we could beat City. We are at home. For some reason, we do get like their better number. We've got their number on them, and if we get the win from them, we've got more rest than what Bournemouth have, and Bournemouth still have injuries. We've got loads of players coming back. I've seen in the news lately that Solanke has been in training. Romero has been in training as well. Mickey van der Ven, they said as well. I think it was the club that mentioned it, and it was Ange Postecoglou. In fact, he said that these players in 10 days will be back, ready to play. So then you've got your back line with Mickey van der Ven back as well. You've got your Solanke. I think he's very important to the press in terms of how we win the ball high up, how we defend high up, and also the way he pins players. He's able to link the play. He's quite physical as well compared to our other options. Could you not see Spurs going on a little run? And the way I've seen it as well, Marlon said there's 11 games left, 12 games left, and out of those games, we technically, if we got 7 wins out of those 12 games, that's virtually like 21 points. That will give you roughly around the late 50s to 60 point mark. And with all these other teams dropping points, could we see Spurs with Ange finish with the coefficient as well in a European position? What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, we can. But are we going to see another season where Ange Postecoglou doesn't play certain players out of stubbornness, out of tests, and then there's injuries because of that, and then we end up in a similar situation? Potentially, no. We can't always just give credit to Ange. We got to be realistic. There could be a situation where we're in this situation once again. Now, look, for me, I feel like when you talk about the likes of Solanke and a press and all this, no, this is not comedy. If you look at Solanke and all the press that he does, it's incredible. But Ange needs to work his players. You know, when a player doesn't, perform to the level, he needs to learn how to drop him. Now we've got City. Yeah, are we going to look at the likes of Poro against Doku? I mean, Ash, you said that Doku didn't get a goal versus what was it? Who did they play?
Liverpool.
Versus Liverpool, yeah. He might get a hat trick versus Tottenham. The likes of Porro defending him. Let's be honest, he might get a hat trick. I mean, I think
what if he doesn't start Porro and he starts with the same team that he started against Ipswich? What if he starts Djed Spence on the right and he starts Doggy on the left?
You will hear me give him credit. I'm not those kind of fans that don't give him credit. If he starts the correct players, if he does the correct tactics, fair play. I'm going to give him credit. But so far this season, there's been way too many games that it's simple mistakes that leads to horrendous goals. I mean, I'm sure you've talked about it so many times on this stream about, balls going over Porro, balls going over Djed Spence. I mean, sorry, Dogi or Djed Spence, whenever. I mean, it's horrific. It really is. And I'm not saying that a manager can come in and fix all of this and it will be perfect. But I'm saying someone can come in and stabilize the ship for a bit. And look, now we're getting all our injuries back. Now we're gonna see Ange Postecoglou football to the best. And you know what? We might finish in a very, very high spot. And credit to Ange because his football is here, his players are back, everyone's just perfect. But what happens if we're in this situation again? What happens if we get more injuries to influential players next season?
Go on, Marlon. Your time. Go on. I thought you were going to answer this question. Says Marlon, big up. I have a sincere question. We never won anything for a long time, even when Kane was here. What is this our toxic fan culture demanding instant success? So, the question really is, if Ange wins the Europa Cup, or actually, if Ange gets to a final, what's the expectation? Does Ange need to win Europa, or can he get to a final and finish I don't know, 7th? What's the bare minimum for fans? Because there's a lot of fans saying, where some fans are too impatient and all of this. If he gets to
okay, I'll ask you both the question. If Ange was to finish 10th and lose the Europa semi-final or the Europa, let's say cup final, get to the Europa League final and lose, and finishes 10th, do you both want him here next season?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
I'm sticking my answer. No.
Me personally, I'll give context. I would say no, only because at the beginning of the season, I'm looking at progression. Do you understand? And I said, I've got my eye on Ange. I said, the first season, you give him the free ride. Second season, I said, if he finishes 5th again, even though we're in another competition, this is what he's been asking for. I need to see some type of progression in year 2. Do you know what I mean? I need to see some type of improvement with this particular squad. I want to see it. So now,
this answers your question. This answers your question, and that's why I asked it, because he basically has to win the Europa League, or it's nothing. Because the season's been that bad that everyone else will not forget exactly how the season's gone. So he has to win the Europa League, and at any chance he goes out, everyone's going to be off.
Yeah, because what it is for me, I do bake in the injuries into it. And so my expectation changed as the season went along. And you do remember that stream we had with Jim, also Spurs, and we had Will on there as well. Was it Will was on there, or was it? I can't remember.
It was Will. Yeah, it was Will, Jim. No, it was Will. Yeah, it was Will and Jim, wasn't it? It was Will, Jim. I can't remember who they were. And Danny.
Danny, yeah. So basically, it was Sava that put in the comments. He said, what's your basically flaw? When do you say enough's enough?
Yeah.
And I said, I think 10th, maybe 11th. I said during the season, I could probably hold out to that, considering when we have the injuries. Do you know what I mean? And then that's what I was on. But once it broke past that, I didn't know I didn't have the stomach for 15th, as Josh said earlier in the stream. So when I saw that, and I was like, because I thought if we were 10th or 11th, we were still in and around that position where, and there was a lots of teams in and around that kind of 10th position where the points difference wasn't that big to get to 5th or 6th or even 4th. And I said, "Rah, if we can get to there, then we're in that punching distance of 4th." And it all comes down to what your expectation is as a fan, because if as fans we're saying 10th is acceptable for Tottenham, then I'm very scared to see what happens next season when if we don't finish like in that top half. Are we saying then now, 6th is good? Because then we're lowering our expectations again, and then we're saying, actually 7th is okay. Then before you know it, you're like basically with the Crystal Palaces and that, and they're always fighting for me to stay in the league. So I think when your standards start to slip, then like there's only one way down for the club. Do you know what I mean? Because the fans is what demand, for me personally, they demand it out of the actual players, out of the club, and that's the reason why we were protesting. Do you know what I mean? That's the real reason for me where we was like, nah, enough's enough. Like we can't be this low in the league. This is, and I'm not saying like we should be challenging for the league, but you have to be in and around that conversation of Champions League minimum. And you know what was really interesting as well? When Ange first came in, for me, like he came in with the smoking, or he came with the chest, the kahunas. He was like, we need to get away from this 4th talk. Do you know what I mean? We need to stop talking this top 4. I'm a winner. I win things. Do you know what I'm saying? That was what I was like, whoa, buddy, slow down. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
You're not worked for Levy for too long. Hold fire.
bro, easy. But I admired it at the same time, because I was like, wow, do you know what? Actually, he's got ambition. Do you know what I mean? But like for me, I've always said I like the idea of Ange. Do you know what I mean? But in real life, the execution. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And even like the style of play when, like for example, let's talk about Bergvall, because I was going to talk about Son. But what are you guys' thoughts on Bergvall? Real quick. No, you start, Josh. This is to you, Josh. You're our guest.
Sure. I think it's class. I think it's absolute class. And you know what? I think he's a type of player that Tottenham Hotspur fans have been begging. He's been begging for this kind of player. And now also, what's also quite interesting about Bergvall is we're starting to see his physicality side in terms of, yes, in the Swedish league, we saw his technical side. We saw brilliant highlights. But now we're starting to see his physicality, see him get a bit aggressive. And, when we got players on the pitch, and especially in that midfield area, they don't really have the most physicality. And we got Bergvall in there, just magnificent on the ball. He's unbelievable. I think he's class. And I just hope we can just keep hold of him for as long as possible, really, to be completely honest.
Big up box office.
Why you want? What you doing?
Your picnic, where you at? Huh?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, let's go straight into it, man. Bergvall, talk to me.
Oh, perfect subject. Yeah, Bergvall. Yeah. Talk to me in 2 seasons' time, 3 seasons' time, and then have the same conversation that we have now. Yeah,
but we want the conversation now, not in 2 years' time. We want it now.
Well, yeah, but I'm just sitting here saying, yeah, right, and listen, right. It's quite ironic. You see now, Djed Spence, what he's doing at the moment, yeah, and look what the journey he had to get through to get to what he's doing at the moment. Bergvall, who's had no expectations this season, let's be honest here, has only come in because there's injuries. Let's be honest, right? I still don't think he's answered the question about him being rash, because he's a red card to be waiting for, right?
I do agree with you on that. Yeah, that right? I completely do agree.
And yeah, and the thing is though, the thing that's fascinating about this, now because of his short spell, which is a short spell of games. Oh, he's taking over from Bentancur now, who we're going to try and get a new contract for, by the way. Make it make sense. You know what I mean? Yes, he's been okay. But like I say, he's had a short spell, right? And yeah, he looks good on the ball. He looks very enthusiastic. Well, Dele Alli was very enthusiastic. Look what happened there. Harry Winks was very enthusiastic. Look what happened there. Ollie Skip was very enthusiastic. Look what happened there. I can give you so many examples, so many other examples as well.
Winks, forget Skip for a second. But let's take Dele Alli. We saw the best of Dele Alli. He was good for a period of time, and then he got injured. Who else did you mention? Winks. Winks, I think, had 1 or 2 good seasons, and then he got injured, and then he wasn't the same again. But Skip, I'll give you. But so if we get to see, let's put it this way: if Bergvall ends up we get 2 good seasons out of Bergvall, who cares? Like realistically, who cares? Because at least we get to see it.
Yeah, you get to see it, but he's very good in a team that is 12th.
Yes, I agree.
Boom.
Yeah.
13.
Of course.
Sorry, I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? It's like...
I'm gonna ask this then. Don't you think, like, you see the whole rashness and the he's waiting for a red card. You saw that with Dele Alli, right? And also, wouldn't you say it's down to the minutes on his pitch? Wouldn't you say that he's young? That's why he's so rash. He's eager to impress. That's why he kind of flies into those challenges at times. His timing's a bit off. Don't you think with time that will get better with Bergvall? It's the box office.
It's a bit like you and YouTube box office. At first you were a bit all over the place, but over time you've got better.
Listen. I'll give. Listen, yeah, it's going to take time, but the thing is, though, he needs experience next to him that is going to actually learn. He's going to learn from. I don't think he's got anybody that's next to him that he's going to learn from. Like, ironically,
what about Maddison? What do you learn from Maddison? Is it Maddison like that level?
Maddison's not even getting. He's not even given the time of day. He's not even given the time of day. You know what I mean? Because it's like he's not playing in his own position. And what is Bergvall? What is actually Bergvall? Is he a number 10? Is he a number 8?
I think he's a centre midfielder. That's what I think he is.
So
I don't know if answers your question.
I tell you what he is. He's an old school centre midfielder. He ain't a 6, an 8, or a 10 because back in the day they didn't exist. And now he's now showing people that he can be a mix between all of them. Whether he can be potentially where he falls into all of that, I don't know. But I just don't think we can carry. I think Ash is right. He's just a central midfielder that can do both jobs, or all 3, if you want to put it in perspective. He just needs. This is where I do agree with you. He needs somebody who's experienced and strong next to him to make him develop going forward. Because Kulu's not the right man. Because Kulu's in another part of the pitch.
What would you say? What would you say, like Josh? What would you say he's going to be elite at? What is it that you think makes him stand out from the rest of the midfielders?
I just feel like his awareness in terms of when to go forward with the ball, when to hold back in terms of going forward. The only thing, again, he doesn't have, and I think Alex pointed out there very very obviously is the red card. The fact that he's very aggressive. Now I admire it. I love it when a youngster is very aggressive. He wants to get involved in tackles. I just feel like his awareness on the pitch, his creativity, it's up there. It's really, really, really good. Now, the only question we got to ask is, will it be the same in a couple of years? Will he keep it consistent? Because ultimately, that's all we want as Tottenham Hotspur fans. We would love him. We would love him to be consistent for the next 2 years. Is he going to?
So wouldn't you say then that Ange has improved him since like the days of Galatasaray, from where he was then and to how he is now? Wouldn't you say Ange has to get some credit for that in the bank?
Yeah, 100%. Sure, Ange can get credit for that. I don't mind giving Ange credit for that. But the problem for me, if we're going to go back again to that Ange, is I could give him, let's say, 10 credits, but he's got about 50, I'm criticizing him 50 times. So for every credit I give him, there's about 3, 4, critiques I can give him. It's not exactly what I want from my own football club. Sure.
Also, would you start, is for you personally, Josh, like, do you like the player? something you think he's that class player that we're lacking, do you think he's the first name on the team sheet, or do you still think Madders and Kulu are the best positions in the midfield?
I think right now, currently on form, we have to say he is one of the first players on the team sheet. Has to. Right now on form, he has to be. The question I usually have with Bergvall, I know it's going to be a bit weird, but it's, do I want to play a defensive player ahead of Bergvall? Just because I would rather have Kulusevski in that position. So I don't know. Right now on form, he's 100% nailed on starter right now. When all players are fit, is he a nailed on starter? I don't know. I can't.
All right,
can't give you an answer.
box office. All right, cool. Josh is saying nailed on starter, Bergvall, right? Who do you play alongside Bergvall if he was a nailed on starter? Would you have Maddison with Bergvall, or would you have Kulu with Bergvall?
That's a difficult question. For me, if you want creativity, you've got to have Maddison there. That's just me, because I think if we don't have Maddison there, I think we lose that creativity. Because I don't think Kulu's that man. I think Kulu holds on to the ball too long. I think with Maddison, Maddison's always looking up and he's looking for that ball. He's looking for just to try and start something off. He's always that guy looking to try and start something, start an attack, or you know what I mean, become deep. Which I don't like him doing that, but that's what he wants.
All right, just on that then, right? Cool. So Maddison going deep. Do you think that's an instruction by Ange Postecoglou, or do you think Maddison is being given free autonomy to do what he likes? Like he's been given freedom. You know, like some managers, like say Arteta. Arteta has a system where your players play in a particular role, or do you think it's the other way around where you have the player and you give him the freedom and you build around the players? What do you think it is for Ange? Do you think he's got the system, or do you think it's a thing where he gives the players freedom to express themselves? Is Maddison going off his own back, trying to find space, going deep and playing those balls like as a playmaker from deep? Or is Ange telling him, no, I need you to pick that ball up? Like, which one? What do you think it is?
I think it's a bit of both. I think Maddison's got his role, but also he sometimes, I notice when he's struggling, he comes deep to try and get something started. So I think that's more on him,
right?
Him doing that, because I think he gets very frustrated when he doesn't have that ball, and so that's why he comes deep to try and start off attacks, because nobody else is doing that.
Would you prefer a rigid system, or would you prefer a system where it's more on the players, meaning you build around your Mavericks, you let your Mavericks be your Mavericks? Because, for example, the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm looking at Amorim, who you think is decent, right? He's a good coach, right? And he needs time, like what you said. Yeah, he needs time. But with that system, Bruno Fernandes, he's like Maddison. He wants to make from deep. But because Amorim plays a 3-4-3, in his 3-4-3, the two midfielders that play in the middle, they're double pivot, meaning like what we had with Højbjerg and Bentancur. Do you remember when they were the double pivot? The two, they're very disciplined in their positioning, so they're not allowed to roam and go wherever they want on the pitch. They have to stay fixed. Now, he's played them also in the 10s, because you know Amorim has a front three, yeah? So the front three, you've got the main striker and the two 10s. But when you see Bruno Fernandes in the 10, for example, he doesn't like Bruno Fernandes dropping deep to pick the ball up, because that's what breaks down his defensive structure. He needs those two players to hold that position. So do you think Amorim's right for having his structure and saying to Bruno Fernandes, no, you're not allowed to go and roam and pick that ball up because he's being a maverick? Or do you think Ange is right by giving the players freedom and autonomy to kind of make things happen, like let the Mavericks thrive? don't give them a rigid system. Which one in your head would you prefer to see, like on a football pitch?
If you put that across to me right now, I would say Angie's system. But the thing is, though, when you sound it out to me for Man United and Amarin's system, who's letting in less goals? You see what I'm saying? Because we let in a lot of goals, don't we? Look, we let a lot of
Yes.
shots, don't we?
So basically, it's a cost. Basically, it's an opportunity cost. They don't score as much goals as us,
Yeah,
but they don't concede as much. We
yeah.
concede more, but we score a lot. So do you see the dilemma there where you've got attacking football where a coach wants to prioritize the attacking,
Yeah.
and I know you do have to prioritize both attacking and defending. You need to be balanced. I get it. But we've brought an attacking coach. We've got an attacking manager. He wants to play on the front foot. This is the style he's playing. Do you stick with that philosophy, or do you go more onto that defensive side of things and you say, actually, let's be more rigid, hard to beat, X, Y, Z? Do you know what I mean? But then you lose a Madison. Do you know what I'm saying? Because in this system, think about it. If you break it down, 3-4-3, where does Madison fit in a 3-4-3? Do you know what I'm saying? He would have to be potentially a left 10, which means you have to drop Son.
Yeah, but that would make more sense. So that would make more sense. So
so
Ashmatic,
you're saying you would drop Son for
yeah,
Madison and have Madison there on the left 10?
because he used to do that for Leicester. I think he did. Did he?
Yeah. Leicester's played everywhere. He played on the right. He played in the middle. He played on the
And
left.
at least
He
he's
played
still. At
everywhere.
least he's
False
still.
9 he played as well. Madison did it all.
But at least he's still like in the attack phase. Basically, he's attacking. You see what I'm saying? I don't like it when he comes deep.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I to be honest with you, if you answer the question, I think for me, yeah, I would say more attacking. I would say Angie's system.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we need better attackers though, because I don't
Well,
like our
do you think
attack.
that's the issue then? Do you think then, if, like, for example, we didn't have the ball we had, and we had a board that was a bit more adventurous in the market, and they prioritized in attacking players, and they gave us like forward players that, were gunmen, they were clinical, or they had something about them. Do you think this Ange ball could be more ruthless? You reckon it would work more?
I don't know whether it would work more. I just think I think we have more better players that would be
Because
more
essentially,
clinical.
essentially, what Ange is trying to do is he's trying to destroy teams, kill the momentum, and we're 3 goals up within the first 30, 40 minutes, and the game's done. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't believe in having 1-0 leads because he knows that he's going to concede some chances because he's pushing all the players higher up. Do you know what I mean? So by pushing the players higher up, winning the ball essentially higher up, you're going to be closer to the goal, and therefore you'll score more goals. Now, as a result of that, you might lose that, and then all that space in behind, you might concede a shot or two. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I'm throwing this kind of question out there. But like someone's put in a comment already, and Marlon brought up, it's gonna be a 3-5-1-1, was it? A 3-5-2. A 3-5-2 would solve the problem, right? That's basically, or 3-5-1-1. That's basically what City do something similar. They got a 3-2-5 where they've got 3 defenders, 2 centre backs, and then they got 5 attackers. Do you know what I'm saying? But even in that system, in the 3-2-5, because that's what it would look like when we got the ball, City are still getting gegenpressed and they're still leaving space in behind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so what I'm saying, essentially, there's a flaw in every system. Even if it is 3-5-1-1 or 3-5-2, the fullbacks, maybe they don't invert, they push high up. So they join the other 2 players, making a 4. And then that extra midfielder will be Madison. He joins it. So then it's a 3-2-5, essentially, in possession. So you still kind of have the high turnover. You still have players that could attack your goal. That's basically what I'm saying.
It's a good argument, but I think it's down to adaptability as well, and also adapting to all the players you've got as well. That's why I think we struggle in certain things as well. For me, especially in that midfield for me. Even though you saw against Ipswich, and which is to be fair to him, Bentancur was coming deep and making it a free at the back, didn't he? To start off attacks, he did do that sometimes as well, which was effective in some way. But I do think it's just dealing with the cards you've got, though, Ashmatic. You know what I mean? Because you mentioned about the 3-5-2, and we've been saying that this side is perfect for that sort of formation, the wing backs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've been saying that for a long time, haven't we? But he's never going to do that, isn't he? You
So,
know what I mean?
all right, cool. Marlon, I want to bring you in there as well. Yeah? I just want to ask you: do you think if we play City and we start to sit off them and we score goals similar to what we did against Ipswich, and we see it again if we play against Bournemouth, do you think Ange is starting to switch his game up a little bit? Where at times, because look, if he deep it right against Ipswich, the first 2 goals were kind of long balls in behind, and even like the last goal where Scarlett gets the flick on, and then Kulusevski runs down the line and shoots. Again, it's another long ball. Is he now starting to slightly tweak things, conserve energy in certain times as well? We don't have the ball as much because some of the possession stats for me, they're not as high as last season. So do you think he's starting to is he starting to tweak here and then? Is he starting to learn lessons, or do you think it's just game state where the other team might have more of the ball? Because I don't understand where some of these smaller teams we will give up so much possession. Do you know what I mean? Especially like Brentford, for example. Do one.
Look, no, because you just go back to the Liverpool and Villa game where he still tried the same things that he was doing before. Brentford was basically, they are good on the ball. So again, we basically hit them on the counter attack, which we had to do. Manchester United are just rubbish. There's just no point talking about Man United at all. The Ipswich game now, everyone will say we gave up a lot of chances, but they weren't clear chances. Like, we wasn't sitting there threatening about what was going on. And Manchester City are going to have the ball tomorrow. The only problem regarding the Bournemouth game, it's sandwiched between the 2 Europa League games as well. And again, we've still got injuries, and this squad is not being can't be rotated. So I think it's, at this present moment, it's because of what he's got at his disposal more than him adapting.
Right.
And I think that's the reason why we're in, because we've got players at the moment that are not in the first 11 that are not great on the ball. They can't keep it. Brennan Johnson can't keep the ball. Tell can't keep the ball. Son can keep the ball, but recently he's not been great. Danso on the ball is not brilliant. Archie Gray is good on the ball, but for him, it's a mixture of both. We can't. I don't know with Archie Gray. Archie Gray is a different thing. Djed Spence, again, he's not the greatest on the ball. He's good at dribbling with it, but is he great at keeping possession? Probably not the best. So if you look at the players,
do you not think he?
I don't think he's the best at keeping possession. Archie, and why I say that is him. I'd say Bergvall's good at keeping possession. Maddison is, and players like that, because it's all about the passing game. But with Djed, no matter how good he's been, he's more about dribbling with the ball and then passing it off.
Yeah, and so it's like retaining possession then, link play.
No, because there's going to be certain times in the game where he can't always dribble. He has to, like, there was parts on Saturday where Archie Gray and Danso were keeping the ball, and they were trying to play it between Bentancur, because Bentancur's hit and miss. But with Djed, he's not known for his passing and being able to just make the simple passes back and forth. And he's more a case of he's good at tackling, and he's not. And when he's on the ball, he just wants to go forward. He just constantly wants to go forward, which then sometimes he will lose possession. And and a lot of people will be looking down, what are you talking about? But just go and watch how he played against Ipswich, and that's why he's done so well at left back. Yeah. Because he's always trying to go forward. He's never thinking about, let me keep it calm for 10 minutes and keep possession. So I think that's the reason why.
So do you, between him and Porro, who's better at keeping possession then?
Probably Porro.
So would you go for Porro then tomorrow?
What, tomorrow? Porro's gonna play tomorrow. Your doggy's not gonna play. Porro is playing tomorrow. Porro was rested for City. Pedro Porro, for how he's used Pedro Porro in all this season, Pedro Porro is starting. I don't get where people are going that Porro is not starting tomorrow. Porro will start. Porro will start tomorrow, and Spence will be left back. Your doggy is not starting. I guarantee it.
So what does that mean then for the season? Do you think then what the doggy is second in the packing order?
So I've just seen the comment about Porro gives the ball away a lot. The reason why he gives the ball away a lot is because our front three can't keep it. That is the biggest issue. Our front three don't keep hold of the ball very well. And when Solanke was in the team, he was probably the best at it, but the rest of them just don't keep it. So when people go Porro gives the ball away, Porro is trying to make that penetrative pass, but because what ends up happening is they're not in the right positions. He ends up giving the ball away because they're not good at keeping the ball. And that's my issue. Archie Gray's good at keeping the ball. That's one thing he's good at. So to go back to your question was, the reason why we are playing the way we are in the last few games is because of the players he has around him. If he had better players, he'd go back to Angeball.
So you think we should be prioritizing then players that can keep hold of the ball more than anything if we want to play possession-based football, like a Madison. Madison can dribble, but then
Madison can keep it. Yeah, he can keep it. Let's take Djed. Yeah, let's take Djed Spencer's goal against Ipswich. Look how he keeps hold of the ball and keeps hold of possession. He doesn't give it away. He goes past a couple of players, then passes it to Djed. And that's the difference. And I know people are going to get confused by what I'm kind of saying, but you just have to look at what their next movement is. Because Danso, in the end, because he was having trouble at left centre back, you saw it where he ended up dribbling into midfield. Yeah. Because every time he tried to play it to Archie Gray or whatnot, it just wasn't working for him. And I can see it. He's not the best at passing. He can keep hold of it. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the best at it. This Benson Core is your key man in that middle of the park, but it all depends on him.
Do you not, Josh? What do you think about this Danso, brother? Do you think like moving forward with Mickey Van der Ven, his hamstrings of obviously the up and down? Do you think Danso should partner Romero, or do you think it should be Mickey Van der Ven and Danso? Or do you think Danso is too early to call? Are we too hyped on Danso? Or do you look at the attributes of him and say, actually, he's a defender at first before anything. He's physical and he's not going to break down like Mickey. Like, where do you sit on this whole Danso? Or let me throw in another option. Do you think we should go to a back three?
Look, I would love us to go to a back three. That's my first answer. I'd love us to go to a back three. Now, I think the problem for Ange Postecoglou, the answer to what the question you just asked when going to centre backs, I think Ange needs to manage Romero and Van der Ven's game time very, very well this season and going into next season if he stays. What you got to see with Danso was glimpses of Van der Ven and Romero, glimpses of Romero's physicality and glimpses of Van der Ven's pace. So I feel like he could be a partner to any of them really, which is quite nice. So do I think Danso is going to be a regular starter? Absolutely not. But do I think he now is going to be a rotation option that will obviously benefit us because Romero won't have to be playing so many games. Van der Ven won't have to be playing so many games. 100%. And you know what? I don't want fans to go crazy about Danso, about him being an incredible player, because I think the profile players in that centre backs that we've gotten over the years. I mean, look, yes, we had the Jans, we had the Tobys, but then you look after that. We brought in Sanchez. We had Dyer for a period of time. We now have Dragerson. It's a very different profiles of players for every single manager, and I think Danso is, in terms of what he brings to the team, It's a bit of Romero and it's a bit of. So anyone who doesn't play that game, Dancer can step in, and Ange can give him the role of what he needs to be done.
By the way, yeah, do you think, because we overhype players, this is to anyone in the panel, but do you think we overhate players as well? Are we extreme on both ends? And I'm gonna bring up something controversial. Marlon, you could jump in if you want.
Is this because Eric Dyer?
Yeah. He knows me like
Virgil van Dyer.
Virgil van Dyer. Virgil van Dyer could be winning a trophy, by the way, guys. He could be winning a trophy, a domestic cup. And some of the Bayern fans, they're giving him his flowers right now. And for those who don't know what flowers means, it means before you die, in it, people put flowers in the casket, but give the flowers to the living, in it. So when they're seen, like, you give them the praise. Well, it's like what Mr. Box Office does. He gives us praise all the time, man. Big up Mr. Box Office, man. Love every time. But yeah, do you guys think that we over critique players?
No,
Generally.
no, because I was there when people said,
do you know what? Yeah, that's it. Nah, we do. Just by him going, yeah, no.
Yeah, we do.
Because I was there. I was there when people said to me, I was deluded for supporting Harry Winks. Was it Ben Davis, Sissoko, Sanchez? And I had to apologise to somebody.
Leave Sanchez alone, man.
I had to apologise to all these people. I had to apologise to all these people, these players who let me down. Yeah. So now I lift up my standards because I need to see it now with Tottenham now, because I've been a Tottenham fan since 1998. Like I said on Mr. Box Office TV, right? When I said about my thing about Ange, why I don't like Ange, I can't support Ange. I'll go and watch that and subscribe. Like you don't know, get to know. The point is, yeah, right, is that, like I said, and now I lift up my standards. I'm negative.
We need to move away from that, though. We do need to move away from this positive, negative thing. It's a bit.
It's like I don't understand it. It's like, we're too over criticism. I'm sorry, right? You get paid a lot of money, right? You're gonna be okay. When okay, let's talk real, guys. Yeah, like I did on George's channel, Djed Diaries. Subscribe to that channel as well. Big up to him every single time. But the point is, though, yeah, right? When we don't work hard, when we don't feel like it, what happens to us in life? What does happen to us in life?
Bro, just go watch anyone's YouTube stream, especially the popular channels. People are getting criticised in that. And it's not, most people aren't even getting paid for it. There'll be comments in this as well criticising one of us lot.
Well, it's not like it's our jobs, you know what I mean? If we don't turn up for work, what happens? Oh yeah, we're homeless. Oh yeah, forgot that. Yeah. Not you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? We've got to be accountable for ourselves. You know what I mean? Let's be real here. You know what I mean? But we can't have criticised players though, can't we?
All right. For example, like, I'm gonna throw this out there. Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, we had Sean on last week. Big up. Was it called Spurs Talks TV? He came, and a few other. I was on other shows as well. He came and he said,
Ash has been honing himself this week on Spurs shows, by the way.
What show? Which one?
With all of them. I don't know which one. Every single one.
Went on. What did I go on? Yeah, I've been holding around. I've been a bad bee. You know what I'm saying? Been getting around.
Yeah, because we all love you all. We love you both. We love you both. Yeah, we love you both.
It's all good. It's all good.
We appreciate you.
I was getting rinsed. Yeah, I was getting rinsed yesterday for being on too many as well.
Okay. Let's appreciate these two, yeah, right? And you should be subscribing to this channel as well, by the way. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to you in a bit, Ash. I'll just give you some praise, yeah, because I need you lot to get some more views.
And Josh, Spurs Live,
and Josh as well. Josh, big up to you, Josh. Yeah, but Josh, I'm trying to get them their flowers. You know what I mean? Like, you should be subscribing, you should be liking this channel right now. You know what I mean? Everybody in the chat. You know what I mean? I want 50 likes. You know what I mean? Whoever's watching.
The point I'm making is that he said that we're going to do this record-breaking summer. We're going to do this record-breaking transfer.
We're going to break transfer.
We're going to break all records. Yeah. me as a Spurs fan, I have a little bit of doubt. I don't know about you guys. You might believe it as well, but like we've had a protest, and obviously, like he's come out with that news. I'm not saying he's like, do you know what I mean? But obviously, he's got it from somewhere, innit? That's been leaked somewhere. He's read it somewhere, and he's probably done the numbers. And so, quite a few fans might look at that, similar to like the last time when it was FFP, PSR. We're gonna have 400 million to spend, or we have the potential to spend, and then nothing doesn't quite happen. This season, we've been linked with the whole Qataris or whatever, and some people want the takeover, some people don't because it's political, blah blah blah. And I'm saying because of the protests, these type of things come out. Now, if I know the board, from what I know, and I don't want to talk about the board too much, talk about the football, but just real quick, I think what's going to happen is we need to sell before we can buy. I'm going back to that old school model. Even though we've got all these income streams, whatever, whatnot, I still think we're going to have to get rid of maybe like 6 or 7 players. I think Basuma will have to go. We'll try to get a small fee for him, about 10 or 15 million. I think Mana Solomon might be another one where we get money from him and we're able to use that money, that maybe 10 or 15 million. And I know some people might like him and think, oh, he's doing well at Leeds. He's a winger that, takes his man on. Why don't we just use him? But I think we're going to have to get that money as well, take that opportunity and use that money. I think Brian Hill will be another one. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you see where I'm going with this? So I think we're going to have to accumulate those sales, just like the Tell thing. Tell isn't like we're a self-sustained club at the end of the day. And I think we're going to have to sell those players, and then those players we're going to use to get maybe like one marquee. So we'll get 1 or 2 marquees to keep the fans like stum and happy. You know what I mean? And then people will be like, for example, if we get the guy Gomez is a free, innit? Could get him. We've been linked to Sane. Sane is another free. Do you know what I'm saying? We basically got Tell already. So Tell, we will buy him, and then that will be put into the summer budget. Then Danso, we've only loaned him, but then I think he'll be added on. So then you've got potentially 3 or 4 signings, and then we still have that home grow issue. So then I think Diblin could be that player where we spend like the big bucks, 60 million. You know what I mean? Obviously, we've been linked with Gittins. Gittins is meant to be the 83 mil that we're supposedly looking at. I don't believe it. I think he would rather go to Bayern Munich. And if he's not going to Bayern Munich, he'll go to another club.
Champions League club, yeah.
He'll go to a Champions League club. And the only way I see us doing something mad. Now, even when we were in the Champions League, I'm still deep in it. And I'm like, and this could come across negative, but when we were in the Champions League, who was the player that you thought, wow, that's a difference maker?
We haven't done it. We only done it. The last play we did it was Van der Vaart. That was when Harry Redknapp was in charge.
Well, even Van der Vaart, his hamstrings were on toast. We couldn't even
I agree.
Yeah, but he was still that marquee.
Yeah, he was a marquee. But imagine our main marquee. Our main marquee has always been like he could only stay fit for a half or 70 minutes or so. Do you know what I'm saying? Ain't that mad? The marquee we all go mad.
Yeah, but at the time, if we're being realistic, Spurs.
It was a big coup. It was. Everyone was gassed out
because it wasn't someone that we expected to see.
Of course,
I'm not taking. If you go back to Poch's 5 years or 4 years, whatever he had in the Champions League, that probably was the most mismanaged time of transfers that we've had, where we didn't take a risk on some of the players that would have apparently would have come to us.
You mean Wijnaldum and Mane? Mane. We were in the club and said, yeah, like, I'll come Tottenham. Wijnaldum was at Newcastle, and we went for Sissoko instead of Wijnaldum.
but it's stuff like that, and then that you'll sit there and go, that's where the club play a part. And I think Toby signed for us when we was in the Europa League, we tend to sign better players when we're in the Europa League than we are when we're in the Champions League. Because
So
even
this is
Vertonghen came to us when we was in the Europa League.
yeah. It's this is why I'm like I'm holding back like the whole takeover thing. I'm chilling. I'm not getting too. I'm not sure if that's anything serious
Sanchez
about all of that.
because Davinson Sanchez, if you look at it, was probably meant to be that marquee signing because he was £42 million
40
at
million,
the time, right? And we already had Toby and Alderweireld, Toby and Jan at the time.
Yeah.
But obviously, every season, one of them got injured at separate times, so they thought Davinson would come in and be that guy. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but.
I can end this. I can end this straight away. I can end this in 2 seconds just by saying this, right? Ask you this question, right? Okay. After the protest, what happened? How many? What do we have? What game do we have in the middle of the week?
Man, you.
We didn't have anybody, didn't we? We didn't have a midweek game. Yeah, we didn't have a midweek game, didn't we?
No.
Right.
No,
so
what
was there to talk about?
There
wasn't that much to talk. Exactly. So, why do you think there's like takeover talks? It's the timing is perfect. It's a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Because a lot of people do believe in it, and it might come across negative that I don't believe that there could be positive talks, and it could come across negative that I think we're not going to do something crazy in the transfer window. We're going to be because ENIC are self-sufficient. They're self-sufficient club. That's how we run. We're kind of a builder club. We're not kind of a go get the best talent that's out.
What about Marky Sani's Tao?
So yeah, remember we said again that's the K money, isn't it? So that's what that is. Tells the K money. It's either that or
to me a Marky signing is a number 6 or centre midfielder for me.
Yeah, well, the thing is as well because we're being linked with Cardoso and everyone's getting hyped on Cardoso, and we have first refusal. I don't know what that means. First refusal meaning that we get to refuse him first. Is that what
he gets to refuse us first?
Yeah, because the wording on that, it sounds mad to me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, is this PR talk? Like, are we actually gonna get this guy, or like, is there any legs in this? Like, so, and as we always say, Ange doesn't like if Ange is to stay on, he doesn't want a number 6. He wants midfielders that can do it all, and the club want English or homegrown, shall I say, homegrown.
Yeah, we need the homegrown is going to be a massive issue. It's going to rear its ugly head again this summer.
So me doing it in my head looks like, well, the player I looked at last week, which was Bellingham, he's more homegrown. And then, as I said before, Gomez, he was on a free, he's more homegrown. Do you know what I'm saying? Cardoso ain't really homegrown. And he's a 6. He's not a midfielder that does it all. So this is why I'm like, am I being delusional or am I being ultra negative or have I seen this before? Which one?
I think what Sean was saying, there is some truth in it, but I don't think it will be the summer that we're all what he was expecting, where it's going to be a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if we do break the transfer record this summer, but if we do, it'll be another 2 players. It'll be 3 transfers sprinkled in with that, and Tell, if he was to come in, is technically a free transfer.
Yeah, I was going to say I think also Paratici's gone because I think with Langs being there, I don't personally think he's going to want a part-time role as a football director. Because
who's he been linked with in the summer? Because his band's over.
AC Milan. He's been linked with AC Milan heavily. AC Milan won him, and he was doing work for Roma and Napoli. He was doing like sales, helping them get look at players, get players down because he's got massive contacts in the game. So I think Paratici goes, and then we're gonna have to rely on someone like Langer to get his book of contacts out and do the big business. And remember the trouble he had with Tell, trying to convince Tell with. I wonder how they're going to convince this big marquee signing, whoever they are, to come and join a club, what that looks like. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I just thought I'd throw it out there. I thought it was a bit. I don't know if I'm being too harsh on this particular subject, or should I get roped in as well?
You're only asking it because box office is here to back you up, so you know you won't get it.
No,
look, Alex will get it in the neck.
No. Listen. I'm just
Josh, man. Come on.
I'm bringing it up because I'm thinking, bro. I've been there before. Like I've seen things where I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe we do a madness in the window. Maybe we get, like, for example, we were linked for Eze for ages. Yeah, ages. And I'm like, let me just give it time. You never know. We could get him. And we don't get that quality of player. And Neto's the same as well. Like, regardless of how Neto's
we've been linked with everyone in the world, though, Ashmatic. We've been linked with everyone.
We have.
And that's Tottenham. What you just said, sorry to cut you off, but what you just said now is I would love that to be our summer. Let's be honest, I would love that to be our summer. But if we're going to be realistic, how many times have we heard supporters come out saying Tottenham are going to break the bank, this, that? It's happened so many times. And by the way, again, everyone knows I'm man Jack, but who is to say that this manager is going to continue with this team next year? And we might have to change our whole philosophy of the way we play. So, and Angel Gomez might be a great player, but he won't suit us. So, in terms of what we get in the summer, it's so far away that I feel like even the players that we are linked with right now, like the Cardoso, whatever his name is, like the Gomez, I mean, there is a big, the Sonny, even Tell. There's a massive chance that we're just not going to get any of them. We're not going to even sign Tell. There's a chance. And would you be surprised?
It's a mad one. Like, I just thought I'll bring it up. The reason why I'm going to bring it up, because we are linked with another player, and you know what I do, innit? We're linked with another player, and he goes by the name of Lookman. I don't know. I'll see what you guys think of him, innit? Like, obviously he played for a few teams in the Premier League. He had a stint in the Bundesliga as well, and he's in Serie A at the moment. But yeah, here he is, man. I'm going to bring him up. He's currently 27. So some people will say that's a bit too old for Tottenham. We kind of like run a crash here. So, but yeah, he's, again, he can play multiple positions. So that does fit the narrative in terms of he can play across the front three. He has been quite devastating as an attacking midfielder or just off the striker for Atalanta. But again, here's his transfer history. He has played for Charlton, so he's from the bits and bobs, southeast. I know he's around from Peckham Way. But anyway, Everton, he got his start at, went to RB, then back to Everton, and then loaned back into RB. And then he went to Fulham. He was loaned to Fulham, went back to RB, went to Leicester, where he linked up with Maddison as well. So he played alongside Maddison before, which is interesting. And then he went back to RB, and then he got his move from RB Leipzig at the end of his loan to Atalanta. So he's actually got Premier League experience. Some people are on the fence of him, saying like he's average or they're not too sure about him. But this season, as you can see there, he's playing in a 3-4-3 at the moment, as a left 10, but he can drift out wide in the wing position where Sonny normally is. But that's his heat map, so that just shows of the areas that he takes up where he fixed the pitch. But on this one, again, I compared him to attacking midfielders and wingers, because that's where he generally plays versus forwards. I didn't really bother with that. But his standout metrics for me has to be his shot creation actions and his... I know you love XG, Josh. So his XG's through the roof. His XG's really high. And his non-penalty goals are really high as well. So those are his standouts for me. If we're looking at his actual... what he does. His attacking threat is crazy at the moment. So I put him against Mbeumo because that's a player I know Marlon really wants. I like Mbeumo as well. I had a look at him again. I think Mbeumo was having a fantastic season with 19 GA. Lookman's got 17 GA, and that's in the league, just in the league alone, not in total. I've got Cunha in there. I think he's a player we should go after if we're serious. Semenyo, obviously, Gittins and Diblin. dribbling with 2 GA at the bottom there. But yeah, potential. Anyway, we move. With the shots per 90, he's third, so Cunha's getting more shots off, and so Semenyo. But those guys there I really like, so he's not in the bad conversation. In terms of shots on target per 90, though, he's top compared to all those players. If you like your Cunha's, if you like Embremo, he's the highest for shots on target. But yeah, here he is here. First shot, I'm going to just show right foot. That's what he's predominantly is. And he's got that rasping shot outside the box, finds those corners, especially on his weaker foot, hits in the instep, top corner. Here he is, he's turning his man outside the box, puts it bottom corner, finds those corners really regularly as well. Here he cuts it back, gets out of his feet, and is able to get his shot away. Different profile to what we have at the moment in terms of actually dribbling and then getting a shot off. That's something I think we need to be able to do. Someone that can create chances off his own back, not relying on service. Here he is in the middle of the pitch as well. First touch out of his feet. Little link play here. Gets the ball, stings it into the play. He holds it up, then gets on the end of it and then puts it through the keeper's legs. There he is again. First touch, beats a player, then bottom corner. Over here, gets out of his feet, takes it to the penalty area, into the opposite angle, into the opposite post. Just giving teams. There he is, just on the end of a chance there. Again, bottom corner, beating his man in the box, and he's really good with his head as well. Aerial quality, ability, on the end of a chance there, getting it out of his feet, boom, at the edge of the box, again stings it. Goal creations per 90, shot creations, actions per 90. You can see there he's top, ahead of Embremo, and I think Embremo, in terms of shot creations, he's that guy, in my opinion. But yeah, here you've got expected assists as well, and here's some of them. Little through ball, nice little weight of pass, gets his head up, picks his head up, finds a player. That guy is able to finish because he's got a good weight of pass. They're very calm, very composed, little cheeky, arrogant flip back. There he's finding out a ball into the box. Here he is, first time, through ball into the player. And again, head up, fizzes the ball into the guy. The guy's able to finish it right there. Again, on the half turn, through ball, finding his teammate there, little play there inside the box, gets his head up, through ball, picks that player out. So able to create for his teammates, not just scoring. Here's a bit of his link play as well, able to find players and combine. I think it's something we do miss in Spurs at times, where players can link and have that relationship on the pitch with others. And here he is creating from the right-hand space as well. Here he's creating in the central place as well. And so there's some of his progressive stats and his progressive carries. Could be better, but he's not shabby. So here you can see taking his man on, doing little fakes to cut back onto a weaker foot, onto the stronger foot at times, dropping the shoulder, going left to right, and he's able to lose his man, beat his man each time. A tricky player overall is what I'm seeing. And I think, you know what? I wouldn't be mad if we got, look, it puts it through the player's legs, first touch on the outside as well, driving at his player, able to get that ball out of his feet, and he's there doing the business, man. But here's some of his crosses as well. If you want someone to whip the ball into the box, Lookman can do that, man. And unfortunately, it's another player we've been linked with. I know you guys don't want to hear it, but I mean...
The difference is with Lookman, though. Lookman's gone through a journey.
Yeah,
right?
journey.
And I know you don't. I know that people don't like that word journey because they're like you see these things in like reality TV shows. I'm not going to mention them because there's other reality TV shows available to everybody these days. But the point I'm making is that I think he was in the Premier League before. And I think he was he at Everton or Leicester?
Yeah,
was it Everton?
Both of them.
I think
and Fulham as well.
And Fulham, and I think he struggled at one of those teams as well. And then he went off to Europe to kind of revitalize his career a little bit. You see what I'm saying? And now you're seeing what he's done already. He's won Europa League.
Yeah, he's won Europa League already.
He won Europa League. You know what I mean? And I think you're seeing the fruits of, again, this is why I can't look at someone like Bergvall at the moment and say, yes, he's the guy, because he hasn't gone through that journey yet. You know what I mean? He's only just started out. And this is so good as an example with Lookman. He's gone through that hardship. You know what I mean? Like with Spence, you know what I mean? They've gone through that hardship of having to go feel down and going through down spells, you know, but then finding a way to revitalize his career and finding where he is at the moment. You see what I'm saying? And now he can look at himself and say, because when was it his manager's having a go at him about his penalties, he can say, well, that's a bit unfair, you know what I mean? Because I think I actually done not too badly. Yes, I'm not a good penalty taker, but I've got this quality, I've got this quality, I've got this quality. You know what I mean? And he's shown some progression. You know what I mean? You know, and that's through going through that journey, you know, where he had that potential, but now you're seeing where he is at the moment, and that might be a sort of player that would be helpful to our squad, because you sit there and say you put him in the squad and he'll sit next to a Johnson or a Alderbear or you know, a Mikey
A
Moore,
different profile again.
and then and Mikey Moore's thinking, well, I've got potential here. Alderbear's thinking, yeah, well, Spurs fans loving me. Well, bruv, you ain't seen it yet, son. You ain't seen it yet, son. Because I've been with some of the best managers, some of the hardest managers in Europe, and you know what they're saying to you? There's a tenner penny of you in every single league, so you're not that special, bro. Just because they're making a big deal about you here, right? But then, like in other teams in Europe, in other leagues in Europe, we're seeing that in like every single team.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And you've got to compete with those people. So you might think you're the bee's knees now. I think you've got the potential. Everyone's being nice to you. You go into Europe. You go into some of the top teams. Like you're not no special person there, because there'll be another one that's similar to you competing for your place, son. You know what I mean? And you're not handed it and saying we're waiting for your place, leaving the place open for you to just fill in the spot when it's available to you when you're ready. You know what I mean? That doesn't work in other teams. You see what I'm saying? And Lookman, what I'm trying to make the point is, Lookman's gone through that. You can see he's gone through that. He's had to grind, like I said earlier. And maybe I was trying to be a bit more very, very real with the what we have to go through, right? But it's grinding. You've had to work with people that you've had to play with players that if you're not playing well, that costs them. You know what I mean? And costs them in leagues. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say.
It looks like we're going towards attackers, and I just wanted to ask, what would you guys prioritize in? Like, would you prioritize in a Cunha, sorry, a centre forward? Sorry, would you prioritize on a centre forward, or would you focus on the wingers? If we were to spend big, like, where would you spend big on, Josh?
Personally, I would go for the right winger. I think we spent very poorly on that right winger position, and to get a marquee signing in that winger position would be absolutely incredible. I mean, we talked about it earlier in regarding the influence of the match for Brennan Johnson. Could you imagine if we have someone like Brennan Johnson who would get the goals but also influence the match just as much? As a Kulusevski, and the sad well, not the sad thing is, well, the fact that we're in a situation where Son, he doesn't take games anymore by himself and go and score. Yeah, against Ipswich he had a great game. Yeah, he has moments, but we need a winger to take a game on by himself at times. We need someone to do it. Over the past years, like Alex said, I think Alex said this, we were blessed with Kane, Son, we're spoiled with them. Now we don't have anyone else to take a game by himself. I think we're relying way too much on the likes of Romero, Van der Ven defensively to not concede. And then we're just hoping and praying that the likes of Johnson, Kulu, or Son will put up a goal, Solanke. So I feel like someone like, now that you brought a Lookman, someone like Lookman, he doesn't just provide an extra body in that winger position, but he can also become that different type of winger that Ange doesn't have. That type of winger that will take upon himself to take a game and go score a goal. I mean, Yeah, sure, Son, he has moments. Yeah, every single game he could score, he potentially could score. But he doesn't do it on a regular basis. And if you're telling me right now a striker or a winger, I would take personally a winger right now, over a striker.
So you want to prioritize, because some people are saying that striker, centre forward is the place we need to prioritize, because Richarlison could be on his way out, and Solanke needs competition. You're saying the right wing actually is more important, because Kulusevski, for you, in your opinion, is a player that's more suited in the midfield. Johnson's more of he's a right winger, obviously. He's playing at the right moment, but he needs competition. And the club are linking us with Diblin. And have you seen much of Diblin by any chance? Do you think he's the one? Would you be happy if we spent a big bulk of our money on him, Diblin?
I would rather Lookman. I would rather a type of player, not necessarily Dibbling. I mean, yeah, it could be good, but he's one for the future as well. He's one for. I need someone right now, if I'm completely honest with you. I think, like I said earlier in the stream, 2026, 27, that's what the team is trying to build for. And to have another youngster in the team, to have another future in the team, I feel like we need to have some sort of experienced player, some sort of elderly player. The fact that Son, again, I'm gonna bring him up. The fact that Son, the fact that Romero, and even Ben Davis, they're really the ones who are the experienced ones, because Romero obviously won the Cup of America. Ben Davis is our longest serving, and Romero is our captain. James Madison's our next, experienced player. He's 28, 27, 28. See, it's a problem. So I think if we have another winger who is more experienced than Dibbling in terms of not Premier League necessarily, but in terms of footballing experience, I think that would only benefit us, really.
Yeah. So I just want to get a few predictions on the Man City game. We spoke about it earlier, but I never asked you guys what you think. What's going to happen? Like, what's your prediction? How do you see the game going, Josh? Oh, so actually, let me start with box office, because I don't know your opinion on this.
I don't know what's going to happen, because I think we've got a chance in this game, because I don't think Man City are very good in defence, and we do score goals. It's just whether they will hurt us in attack as well. The midfield is going to be a very interesting battle as well, because I don't rate our midfield as well. So, but
do you rate their midfield? Do you rate their midfield? Do you rate their midfield?
They're very light without Kovacic, isn't it? Very light, aren't they? You can really get heavy with them, can you? Really, I don't think it's the right way of saying it. But and defensively, they've got a mistake in them, haven't they? So I predicted a draw on one channel, 1-1 draw.
So what are you predicting here then? Considering
I still think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, because they still need to win, because they still need to get some points, because they need to go and get into top 4. See what I'm saying?
Does like Haaland make a difference? Do you think? Does that make a difference? Because we've played City before, and Haaland's not scored against us. He's not done nothing. But do you think that he makes an impact in this game after coming back from a knee injury?
The problem I have with I think you have made a good point there, because I don't think he has been effective. I think he was only effective in the game against us last year at home, and really we know what happened in that game anyway. What were the reasons for that game? You see what I'm saying? So, with the whole thing about Arsenal winning the league and stuff. So, I would say no on history at home. At home, not away from home, more at home, I would say. Man City are going to have a lot of the ball. It's just whether, because the main thing that really helped us against them away from home was we scored our chances when they didn't. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I still stick by it. It's a draw, and that is actually very positive for me. Let's be honest here. So, I mean, don't get used to that. Please do not get used to that, because I'm not a very nice when it comes down to my club. But yeah, I just think it'll be a draw.
All right, and Josh, you were talking about Rico Lewis playing as a right back and getting in behind. But what if they put their new signing there in is it Kusanov? He's quite quick. Obviously, I think he's a Kyle Walker replacement, and so he would allow City to play a higher line, and if Son got on the ball, he would cover that kind of ground where Son would try to exploit. Do you think that would make an impact in the game? Do you think that'd have any bearing if Rico Lewis didn't play in that midfield, and it was just maybe they've got Gonzalez there, haven't they? Gonzalez, and then possibly
I thought he was
Bernardo
injured.
Silva. Is he injured?
Injured as well.
I don't know. I thought it was yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not sure if he is injured. I'll look at the team news in a sec, but let's assume that he's playing.
I think.
Oh, basically, Rodri's injured. Akanji's injured. Stones is injured. Haaland's a doubt, and Oscar Bob's a doubt.
Oh,
So
okay, calm.
And so is Gonzalez.
It's a big difference. Kusanov or Rico Lewis, as I said. Rico Lewis obviously be more of an inverted fullback, and it will allow Son to exploit the space left behind him. I think if Kusanov is starting, it's a long day for Son. It really is. We're not going to get much out of that, and therefore we're going to have to rely on that right hand side of Tottenham Hotspur as much as possible. Whether it's at Kulu, whether it's Johnson, but I think we need to, instead of looking at offensively, we have to look at defensively how we're going to be doing, because when you look at City versus Liverpool, sure, Liverpool made it look very, very easy, but we got to remember Liverpool also beat us 6-3. That Liverpool team, that City team that played Liverpool, if Doku put in one decent ball that could have been a goal, Doku was on fire, and Doku could be the game changer for City versus Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow or today or wherever you are at. So that's the biggest difference.
But don't you think Spencer's been doing quite well at left back compared to maybe like a Udogie? He obviously had to play against Salah before, and there's other players. Can't remember off the top of my head. Salah's one of them that I remember. Who was it against Arsenal? He had a good game.
Oh, it was Saka was injured, I think.
Yeah, Saka was injured, but regardless, he's played against Arsenal, he's played against Liverpool, and he's come out with flying colours. But do you think then like Spence could have a decent game and have a better battle than what maybe Trent had against Doku?
100%.
Actually, 100%. You know what? I think it might be Savio. Sorry, it might be Savio on the right and Doku's on the left. So
if Doku's on the left, it'll be even better for us.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever way it is, I think Doku needs to be marked by Spence. I think it's a big factor of the game. But one thing I do want to also say is that midfield. That midfield is super important. Specifically, whoever's marking, whoever's on Poro's side of that right side of that midfield, whether that would be a Bentancur or whoever, that is super important, because if we start Johnson on the right, like a lot of people are saying he's going to start, then that midfield, whoever's on the right, has to come and help cover for Poro, because defensively Poro is horrific. He's a wing back. He's not a full back.
Okay, so you see the big problem coming from the right hand side. So centre back pairing, who do you lot think that will be? Who do you think will be the centre back pairing against City?
Has to be one.
Danso and who?
On mute, I think he wants to.
I think it's going to be. Well, for me, personally, I think it should be Davis and Danso.
Davies is out though, but like the club have been hiding it. The club have been hiding this Davies injury really bad,
Well,
and he's not going to be in the squad tomorrow.
Well, if that's the case, unfortunately, by default, it's going to be Archie Gray and Danzo, which I don't agree with.
Do you think then, if, like, for example, Romero's been seen training, do you think there's a world where Romero could start against City? Or do you think it's too soon?
At the moment, I'm just basing it on what is available at the moment, and for me,
fair enough. Fair enough.
At the moment, it's going to be. And I don't like this because I think Archie Gray needs to be playing his position. You see what I'm saying? What we spoke about earlier, I think either earlier or on George's channel, I think Archie Gray should be in his own position, all right? Because that's the only way he's going to learn. But by default, it's going to be Danzo and Archie Gray, unfortunately. I do I really want Romero in that team right now when he's hardly played? No, I don't think he deserves it anyway. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Let me ask this. Like, all right, cool. You don't think Romero deserves it? Danso and Archie Gray should be the centre backs. Who can be got at, right? But if we manage to get a result here, you give Ange credit because he's defensively set up against one of the best attacking teams in Europe, or in the league, should I say, because that's what Liverpool essentially had to do to get the win. I know Liverpool didn't blow them away, but defensively, you saw them compact, they were tight. I think it was like they had 4 defenders narrow, and then they had 2 midfielders in front, and then they had 4 players in front. And then at times they instead of making their centre backs jump, they made their centre backs stick because they were trying to not create that space in behind where you see Foden become like the false 9 who jumps in that area and can be a threat at times. I saw Slot look on the screen and he did a little tweak with that. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, if Ange gets that result, do you have to give him, like, you say, look, Ange, you know what? Or is it a thing where you're saying, no, Ange was forced to play this way because City had a lot of the ball, and he didn't change anything, and Spurs won because we didn't play Ange ball. Like, where do you sit on that?
Listen, he gets credit for the game, yeah, but that's all he gets. He should have been doing this a long time ago. He was doing this in the away leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a way, when we were away from them, and we won handsomely, didn't we? So for me, like, yeah, he gets credit. We'll say, yeah, well done. You've won. You've done the double over Man City. Great. What I stick with is that he needs to win. Overall, for me, it doesn't change my feelings on the manager. No, it don't. Because like, this is no pressure on him now. No pressure on him. Because he started so badly that I don't think he's so. For me,
so the pressure would be more on the cups then, really. If you're thinking about it,
it's more pressure on
so
the.
if he does well on the cups, where the pressure is, then technically you have to give him credit there, no?
Yeah, well, that's what I said at the beginning. I said at the beginning that he's going to be our most successful manager of the last 2 decades. So by factually, he will be. And yes, he proved me wrong.
He
And
will
yes,
be. He will be.
He will be. He will be. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He will be.
So he's going to win. You reckon he's going to win Europa?
No, I don't think he will. No, but he will.
Oh, the way you said will, I thought, all right, he's winning Europa then.
Yeah, no. But he will be. He will be. So that's where my credit will come to, right? What happens afterwards is where we have the conversation. This game, no, because there's no pressure on him to do anything. Because we're not relegation candidates at the moment.
No, we're far from it.
We're far from it, right?
Yeah.
So, and all we're fighting for is to get 7th or 8th. So the league's done. So for me, it's now down to the because let's be honest, the only reason why he's not getting sacked because the fans, some fans are still for him, right? I don't think Levy wants to sack him because he doesn't want another trouble on his door in terms of the fans having a go at him, right? So really, technically, you know, he should be out. He should be out the door, but he's not. So yeah, because of the where he's been at, you know what I mean, and he's had enough time, but he's not gonna get, you know, that's not gonna happen now. So he's got to do what he said, right? Saying I normally win in my second season. Yes, he didn't say I definitely will win my second season, but he said I normally win my second season. Well, here's your chance now. And if he doesn't do it, this is where we're going to have an issue because.
Hey, listen, Luchan says we will get sixth. Yeah, we'll get sixth. If that was a thing where we got sixth,
no.
What are you saying?
No,
I'm saying, what are you saying? If we were to get sixth, what are you saying? If we got sixth, does your tune change a bit?
No.
Sixth is
no.
From where we were, from 15th to 6th.
Because we would have had one game a week after doing that.
Right. Okay. I see where you're going with it. Okay.
Because he's proved to me you can't handle 2 games a week, and if you're a top team, you've got to handle 2 games a week.
And that's what it boils down to at the end of the day, which is interesting.
Because it doesn't manage to score better, doesn't manage to score at all, doesn't coach the squad better. There's so many issues with this guy.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I can't praise somebody that who couldn't keep up the standard when we had 2 games a week. He was complaining about, we don't train enough. Well, sorry, mate, you had pre-season to prepare for this.
But technically, it is 2 games a week because we're playing AZ, and if we get through to that, after AZ we play Bournemouth, and then after Bournemouth, I think we got Fulham.
International week, I think.
International week, sorry, and then we got Fulham, and then after Fulham, probably be the next round, or after Chelsea. So then technically it's still 2 games a week. And if he was to get sixth after that, he's managed 2 games a week, technically.
This is where we need to see it then. Because the arguments are going to come back up again, saying that we don't train, right? We only recover.
Yeah, we don't train. Yeah, we only recover. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's the arguments are going to be. And it's like, well, yeah, but you knew this already. Like he's had a pre-season right now, having a week to prepare. He's basically having a pre-season right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
In seasons terms, because like he's had 2 games a week.
So, I mean, it's like I'm saying, look, to finish above, if we finish above Villa or Newcastle, from where we were, I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard.
Listen, Newcastle, I can see your point. Villa,
that's Eddie Howe and Emery. Do you know what I mean? 2 top managers.
Villa have been in Champions League though as well. You know what I mean? And you know, but listen, it is what it is. Like I say, I've made my decision on the manager.
Yeah, right? Of course. I'm just being hypothetical. I'm just asking questions, you know.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm not. You're not going to change my mind on this one now. He's going to have to do a lot more. And like even winning the Europa League, I will give him a lot of credit because he's done what he's supposed to. But not on the back of this game though, Ashmatic. Because let's be honest here, the run that he's had right now, right, with beating Brentford when really, I think Brentford should have scored. Man United, we were awful against them, and because Man United couldn't score.
Yeah.
And Ipswich, we should be beating Ipswich.
Right.
Okay, so, but in saying that, yeah, it's 3 games in a row. You know, I'll give him a blue Peter badge.
3. Yeah, it's 3. It's 3 games. Yeah.
I'll give him a blue Peter badge then.
Yeah.
To make people feel happy about it. Those Ant fans. You know what I mean? But yeah, listen. He has done well to get the last 3. Yeah, cool. And it will be something of an eye opener if he goes winning 4 in a row as well. especially with Man City.
The last thing I want to ask you before I finish here is just because I asked the other lot about our front three, innit? And we spoke about Johnson. I know your feelings about Johnson. I'm pretty sure I know your feelings about Tell, but I can't remember your stance on Son. Like, what is it for you for Son this season and going forward? How do you assess it? How do we maneuver? Do we bin him off? You know, as being a loyal servant, that you just get rid of him now. It's done. Obviously, we move on to the next one, next chapter. Does he still have like a role to play this season? Can he still produce? Help us push up the table, give us something more. Obviously, there's been a lot of criticism on Son saying, you know, he's done, his legs are finished. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's our highest goal contributor in the team. I think he's got something like 10 goals, like 20 goals and assists together combined. So, what is your opinion on Son, man? What's your assessment on him?
He hasn't had a great season this season, no. We respect him for what he did in the past, yes. I think that's down to competition. The fact that he's got this captaincy as well, which I don't think is helping him at all. Yes, he had a relatively good first half against Ipswich, but you saw his fragility when you saw the second half when he taken on Godfrey, Kieran McKenna. So for me, you should be getting somebody who can compete with him. He should be assured of his place because he hasn't been great. Yeah, he's going to be here next season because he's signed a new contract, hasn't he? So all I would say is that he needs to. We need competition for him, you know, and he's not should be assured of his place, and that should then push him even more because then that will make us a more competitive squad. We're going to have to use him now because we've got him. He's signed a new contract, haven't we? You know, so for me, he's been very disappointing this season.
Yeah, cool.
Very disappointing. But I will say on Tao, I don't know what people were expecting, really, to be honest with you. I don't think he's a striker. I'm not going to go and start having a go at him. I think that's just on the club, putting him in that position. You know, putting all that expectation and the fans overhyping him. So that's not on Tao. But in saying that, he does need to try and do something. But I don't think it's really helping him, putting him in up front. You know what I mean? With nobody really to work off. I think, you know, a young.
Would you pay the money for him if he What's your expectation? I asked this earlier on the show. What's your expectation of Tell? How many goals does he need before you say you drop the money on him? Because you're saying it's not fair.
I didn't really have that much expectation, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hear it, but I'm saying going forward, do you use that Kane money? That's obviously there anyway. On Tell, the way it's looking, it's like it's going to be a part of the deal. So essentially, it's a free transfer. Do you know what I mean? Because we're going to write off the Kane money against it.
I wouldn't do that. I think you need a proper striker there, to be honest with you, that can compete with
Solanke.
Yeah. Because I don't think he'll get any better here because I just don't trust the manager to do that.
Even with a different coach, would you change your tune and say let him stay for longer?
Probably, but it depends on what we're doing. What is the next? I mean, I don't agree with the whole thing about changing the whole philosophy if you get a new manager in. You can keep the philosophy, just maybe have a few tweaks.
Yeah.
And just get a coach in that can, you know, adapt to different styles. You know, a style that everyone can, you know, they can adapt to the players that he's got, and that maybe is what Tao needs. You know. I just think he feels very isolated at the moment. You know, the way that we play. You know, he's just expected to just be this number 9 up front, and I don't think he's got the capability to play that role. You know, I think maybe a big man up front would have helped him. You know, to work off. You know, because when you're asking a young player to do that, There's a reason why he wasn't getting into the Bayern Munich team.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, his first club, I think he had a lot of games, didn't he? From what I heard before he went to Bayern Munich. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go all harsh on him. For me, in saying that, I'd rather have him up front than bloody Richarlison, that below average Emil Heskey, that embarrassment. And someone said that he's back in training. Oh, whoopee do. Honestly, I've seen him be a fool like he was against Liverpool again. No, forget that. I'd rather have him up front, Tal. To be honest with you, I'll take him all day long rather than him, because at least he doesn't dive on the floor act like a fool like he does. You know what I mean? Sorry, I didn't want to rant. I didn't want to rant about him, but I'm sorry that there is perspective. You know what I mean? You know, hindsight's a beautiful thing, because when you think about Richarlison as a striker, he's embarrassing. You know what I mean? He's a Brazilian striker, so I'm sorry. I would take Tao in front of him all day long. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? That shows how bad our options are up front, then, isn't it? You know what I mean?
So because if we sell Richarlison and we were to keep Tell, that means we don't need to buy another striker, or it does? Do we need to buy another striker still? Because all you saying Tell then is competition for Son, because you're saying he's not a striker. What, like, what? Where is it?
He could be. Our forward options are just a bit of a mess, aren't they? Really, at the moment, aren't they? So, do you know what, Ashmatic? I don't know at the moment.
That's why I'm asking these questions, because it's like I just want to know, like, where do we go from here? Like, because obviously we brought this kid in, but then we've had links with other strikers since he's been here, so I don't know if they believe in him themselves. Like
at the moment, I don't see a competitive strike force that are competing with each other at the moment. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, if someone's not playing well, a player doesn't come in and take that place and try and get a message out and say, you know, make a statement. That's the way to say it. Make a statement with a performance or a couple of performances, and then he's in the team, and then that player that he's displaced has to fight for their place back. I don't feel it's a competitive forward line for me. You know what I mean? But I mean, I know that that's kind of a problem with lots of teams now. You know, you just look at Chelsea, don't you, right now? You know what I mean? So
it's almost like we've got heavily invested on the left-hand side. We've got loads of players that can play on the left, because now Odebert's back. Like, trust me, bro, as Bryce has just said, he's basically saying Mikey Moore's minutes have been pushed back ever since Odebert's been put into the squad. Now we're taking Europa more seriously, because that's the only competition where we can actually win something, because the league's unattainable now. Where does Mikey Moore fit in all of this? Do you know what I mean? You've got Mikey Moore, he could play left. You've got Odeberg, who could play left. Now you're saying Son, new contract, 1 year extension, whatever, whatnot. That's 3 players.
Yeah.
Tell can also play in the left. That's 4. Like, do you know what I mean? The pecking order. And now someone's saying we've got this Irish kid that we've bought as well. We bought this Irish kid that's come out. He's meant to be the next big thing coming from Ireland. I have to chat to Irish Hotspur about him. But I looked at a few clips of him. He looks decent. But how does it all fit in? How does it? These are the questions I've got. And then the right wing is looking quite thin, and we're linked to Gittins, as I said before, Jamie Gittins, which I don't think is going to happen. But they're still looking in that area, so it's very strange recruitment. Someone's just put in the comments right now about, don't forget Dane Scarlett. What are your thoughts on Scarlett? Does Scarlett compete with Solanke? Because a lot of people are saying when Solanke wasn't fit, Tell's there, but why use Tell when we've got Scarlett?
I mean, for me, Scarlett needs another loan for me. I don't know whether he's ready or not.
How old is he? 21 now?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's saying that if this is your time to shine now, mate. You know what I mean?
We've got Valise as well. He's 20 years old, so he's going to be 21 in March. He's going to be 21 in March. But Valise will be sold, though. Valise will be sold. We'll get money for him.
But my point is that if there's any opportunity right now, this is the opportunity now, isn't it? And if he's not getting the opportunity now, well, you need to do something with him and quit, because he can't be sitting on the bench for us, because he's not going to get developed, it's not doing any good for his development, isn't it? You know what I mean? So for me, this is his opportunity for me, but I don't know if he'll get that opportunity with this manager.
It is crazy because I'm not sure if with Scarlett, do you reckon the club will sell him? And will fans
you got
be
to do
outraged?
something. You got to do something with him, because the thing is, though, you can't be sitting on the bench all that time. How's that doing good for the player at his youth age? He needs to be playing.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is either, personally.
It's not doing him any good at all, Ashmatic. It's him sitting on the bench and not getting any minutes.
Do you know what it is? I just don't know, because I felt like what Conte and Mourinho were saying is they would blood the youngsters in, but there's an issue at the moment where the club want Champions League, and now are we saying Scarlett is the player to compete with Solanke to get us in Champions League, and therefore why are we linked with? We were linked with another player called Moises Keane. He used to play for Everton. He's at Fiorentina at the moment. Apparently, he's ripping it up at Fiorentina. And us, West Ham, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, and Everton. Is it Everton? I can't remember. But a few teams are looking at him, basically, Moises Keane. So I'm like, right, then why are we looking at Moises Keane if we've got Scarlett there? I thought we were trying to do the pathway thing, as you said earlier, that the centre back, by the way, he's scoring a bag of goals wherever he is, but then who cares? You don't want your centre back to be known for scoring goals. You want your centre back to be known for defending. Do you know what I mean? It's like saying, Archie Gray, hooray, he's playing great balls out from the back, but you want your centre back to be known for. I know Archie Gray's not a centre back, but I'd rather praise him for his defensive work than his offensive work, because you want the primary player to do his job well first. It's like goalkeepers. Like, we've got Kinski in, another youth player, right? Not another senior player. We got more youth players in than we did seniors. And I thought in that window, we needed a senior player more than we needed youngsters to get us through that tough time, because we were 15th. Didn't really make any sense getting in youngsters in that period, getting Kinski and Tell. And then Danso was the only senior player. We needed more senior figures coming in my opinion, to help us push up the table. And that's why Danso's look so good, because, as you said, a journeyman. He's come through Southampton. He's come through, what was it? Is it Leyton Orient? I forgot the other team.
Yeah, something like that.
He's come through Bundesliga. I forgot the German team he was playing for. Then he went to Lens.
Yeah.
Now, and then he got his, do you know what I mean? They've gone through it. You know what I mean? They've got the experience. And that's why he looks so much better signing than a Kinski and a Tell. People are like, yeah, I like the look of him. He looks physical. He's a defender first. Do you know what I mean? So I'm looking at this summer. Are we going to do the same thing again? And whoever is the manager, are we going to hamstrung them, essentially, because you're bringing in players that will be ready for 2 years' time, or a year's time, or 3 years' time? Do you know what I mean?
I think you've got to look at it like this, though, Ashmatic. You've got the manager that we get in, the manager that we have at the moment has to deal with this the way that we are. We're getting signings in that are low wages, that need progression. Progressing and developing. We're not going to go out and get the marquees, big wages signings. We're not doing that because we've got rid of all those players in the summer just past. So
just on that, do you think fans will celebrate again? Yeah, if we get rid of Basuma, we get rid of Elise, for example. We were to get rid of Richarlison. We were to get rid of Solomon. We're to get rid of who's a defender we don't need, like, I don't know, like a Davies or someone like that. 4-star Fraser 4-star, for example. Like, you know, with fans celebrate and say, "Oh my days, look, we've got rid of the deadwood again. This is even better," or this is a great season again. We've gotten rid of the deadwood, and we're going to be doing well because we've got rid of all these players off our wage book. Do you think they'll celebrate again, or do you think fans have learnt that lesson where they're actually saying, "Nah, you know what? Yes, it's good that we got rid of some of these players, but we've got more than enough money now, more than enough revenue streams. Our wage bracket's been lowered down quite considerably. We need to start, you know, buying players." And also Werner. I know Werner, we haven't bought him, but again, he's going to be off the wage bill again. So do you think fans will wise up and say, "No, actually, we need a marquee signing coming in has to be someone that's not off a youth project, it's someone of now, and has to have considerable wages where we're like, okay, it goes hand in hand." Do you know what I mean? Or do you think? Go on.
I think we will be celebrating it. I think there's going to be a lot of positivity about that. Yeah, but there has to be some signings with that as well. I don't think we're going to get somebody that's going to be proper experienced. I think those players that we got in already that are, I mean, like Djed Spencer's always been at the club, hasn't he? Danzo was just available at the time, and we snatched it from Wolves' hands because, you know, the Dragosin injury, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we're going to get more of a young player that's got, you know, who, you know, that's just me. That's just me. I think we're going to get a young player. I think rather than a natural experienced sort of player that is actually ready. I just don't see it, because even if we spend the money for, you know, the 50 million, the 60 million, I think the wages will be the telling point for me. You know what I mean?
Supposing we did manage to get, like what Callum's saying, yeah, we managed to get Gittins over the line, yeah. He's youth, he's homegrown, and we spent wages on him, which is like 150,000, for example, 170,000. Or, all right, forget Gittins, yeah, we got another player in who is homegrown, which is Angel Gomez, yeah, or Angel Gomez, however you want to pronounce it. He ends up on high wages, 150k or 160k. Do you think that we the club saying, "Look, here's your high wages guy. Like, I've got it," even though like he was on the free, we didn't technically spend big money for him.
Well, it's all right saying that, but the thing is, we've already done that before with like Underbelly, didn't we? And Lo Celso, look how that worked out. The Charleston's one of those ones as well. Um, what the transfer window is for me is yeah, you get your signings in, great, but then what is your plan is for these signings? You know what I mean? How are they going to fit in? How are they going to? What are you? What's your expectation? You know what I mean? Like, for me, if you're talking about marquee signing, for me, you need somebody who's going to play that midfield role, and we all know that defensive midfield role that is going to help, you know, shore up that midfield, and then also be that person that is going to stop attacks, but also dictate play. You know what I mean? And maybe you might need one player to do that, and another player to be that defensive solidity. Maybe, you know, that double pivot. Maybe, you know, maybe you're not going to find that in one, because if you can find that in one, it's going to be a lot of money.
Would you be willing to make a sacrifice for like a Mickey van der Ven? Like, would you sell Mickey van der Ven like to Liverpool, for example? You strengthened, like, they're not even a rival, so we can't even call them a rival. But would you sell them to like a Liverpool, a bigger club within the league?
I think we're at that point now, though, Ash. I think we're at that point now, especially with Romero. I think we're at that point now where we're going to have to start considering it, because he's not always fit. I think the stats really damn him for this guy, that he's not always fit because of his injuries, and that's why they're taking so much time to have him on the pitch. You know, have him fit on the pitch, and I think the same with Romero. I think there's also a little bit of Romero wanting to looking at other, you know, having the wandering eye go to looking at other teams, because he's not winning anything major with Tottenham, right? Isn't he right now? You know what I mean? He's won Copa America and World Cup already, so you know what I mean. I think he's with Argentina, and I think Argentina. I mean, and I think he's done another one as well, another international tournament as well. So I mean, I think we're gonna have to sacrifice somebody, yes, because we are that team now. We are that team. We're not that team that I expect us to do. Yeah, maybe to do one in a cup, yes, but we're not that team that is going to compete with the top fours, because we're always going to have that excuse about, oh, it's too much because we've got 2 games a week. You know what I mean? And I think the only way this works for me is you have a manager that is got that coach that is going to be able to coach players and develop them into other, get them doing over
Overachieving.
overachieving like you did in the past with the managers we know already.
Just quickly on this question that Neil Gunn, I've left it on the screen for a reason. He said, would you take a marquee or would you go for a profile? It's basically what he's saying. Which one? What would you do? Like, and when I say a marquee is someone that's experienced. They can do it at the level. They're the player that every fan's wanted, or maybe you've wanted, and you're like, wow, I think he's going to be the difference maker. Or would you go for a player that suits what we need and he addresses what the team's missing? So, for example, a number 6 would be fitting for the system. Yeah, that would be a profile that we need, a defensive midfielder. Sorry. Or would you go for example, Harry Kane? You know what I mean? Coming back.
So what do you mean by marquee signing? Marquee profile. What do you mean by profile?
So profile will be a DM.
By the way, this is me saying it's a good question.
Profile will be a DM. Profile will be a DM.
Yeah.
So we're missing a DM. That's the profile we're missing. Everyone said it. Defensively, our midfield is all over the place. If we get a DM, all of a sudden, that raises the floor of the actual.
And marquee signing is more like
a marquee signing would be a Kane, or I don't know, an Elise, for example. I know you like Elise, so imagine Elise's come and Elise is not.
Because I thought marquee signing would be like anywhere in the team. So for me, I think a marquee signing for us is a defensive midfielder.
No, so a marquee signing typically is someone that
or striker, attacking wise.
No, it doesn't have to be a striker, but they cost a lot of money, for example, and they've got experience, they've got the know-how, they've been there, they've done it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm trying to kind of separate the two.
Yeah, but would you say that the defensive midfielder sort of role would be something that you want to spend a lot of money on anyway, because it's been so crucial.
All right, all right, cool. Let's say Adam Wharton.
Just turn the question around.
Let's say like Adam Wharton, became available.
Yeah,
we could get him, but we didn't have to spend that much money on him. He came at, I don't know, 40 million. 40 million. We got Adam Wharton. I know it would cost a lot more, but I'm just using that for example. Adam Wharton comes available. He fits the 6 or DM role where he can spray balls from deep, whatever. Versus, I don't know, someone with a lot more experience, who's a top forward. Like I like Embremo, so I could use Embremo for example. I think that he would be a top right winger that could raise the floor of our. And he's got experience. Do you know what I mean? He's been in the Prem for more than 2 seasons now, and he's getting double figures. He's getting double returns. Do you know what I mean? So, would you prefer an Adam Wharton type, or would you prefer a big money signing and we spent 70 to 80 million on Embremo, for example? So essentially, it's double the money.
I think at the moment for what we need at the moment, I'll take a Wharton.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I think it will be more. It would help most of our team to be more solid, and then our attacking players can do what they need to do attacking wise. You know what I mean? Because the fact is, at the moment, we're scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah.
We're scoring a lot of goals, but we're shipping in a lot of shots, and that's going to be a problem.
Do
You see
you
what I'm saying?
think?
So that for me, that for me is so then to answer your question, maybe more profile.
Okay, cool. But do you think, like, and this is where I come in, like, this is where I got to worry. Because everyone's like, we need a 6, we need a 6. What if we get the 6 year and we still have the same issues?
Well, that you can see that, yeah. You can see that, yes. That's the point. Because I mean, we've tried to do that before. To be honest, with you, if it shouldn't be a problem, right? Because if you're scouting very well, if you scout players very very well,
Mm.
you don't need to spend a lot of money on the number 6. In the past,
Mm.
that have been our number 6, we
Mm-hmm.
haven't spent a lot of money on them.
Mm.
Let's look at some of the signings we've made before. Palacios,
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Yeah,
spend a lot of money
Wilson,
on him.
Mr. Wilson, yeah.
Stefan Freund.
Mm-hmm.
Dembele was not a big sign. He wasn't even a midfielder.
Modric was cheap as chips. He wasn't too much. He wasn't too expensive.
So you don't need to do that. And when you look at some of the best defensive midfielders in the past for other teams, yeah, certain teams they've had to spend a lot of money on
So
because they're more established. But I don't think you've had to spend a lot of money. I mean, yeah, someone's putting in the chat Van Yama.
yeah, so you're basically saying, like, your DM doesn't have to be known, and he doesn't necessarily need the experience either. He just needs to have
Well,
the right
if you have a
attribute.
good coach, you can coach it. You can coach him. I mean, Rodri wasn't Rodri when he came to Man City, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I hear it.
Rodri came to Man City, and then Pep Guardiola made him
So,
Rodri.
so you're more about getting the right coaching and scouting the right players to raise the roof, and that coach gets the best out of those players. Basically, that's what you're on.
Well, that's what we are. That's what we are as a team. That's what we've always been. We're trying to do something that we've never done before. Listen, I don't want to go too much into this because I think we're kind of I'm repeating what I've said before.
Not
But
really, not really.
but this has been what we've been like for a long time now. We've already established this. We established this like under Martin Yole. Let's be honest. It's just that we only had Harry Redknapp trying to raise the profile a little bit because he wanted more established players. But we ended up going back to what we used to do before. Poch was just someone that we just found and got lucky with, didn't we? And we tried to do it with the likes of your Contes and your Mourinho's. It never worked, didn't it?
Mm.
So we've always been that team that was always a 7th place, sort of 6th place sort of team, 5th place sort of team. And we're always going to be looking for those players that are having to have to improve. That's why Poch was so well renowned for that, and we always needed that. You see what I'm saying? So we need those sort of players that we need to improve on, but might end up going to another club because they need to go and win their trophy somewhere. But that's what we need to do. We need to keep on churning that out, and that's why I think they're trying to grow this academy and stuff because that's what and bring through young players because that's what they expect. They want this sort of conveyor belt of players coming through to the first team, right? As well as bringing players that are going to certainly acclimatise to the velocity that we want to play as well, and the system that we want to play as well, and the attacking football we want to play. So, and then if they develop and turn into great players, they'll move on as well. And then with us, we're just keeping on turning around, and that's it. And then probably we might get a cup run, maybe, and that's it. But we're never going to be into that upper echelon of being that top club because we don't look to go to that level and pay those money for the wages for those players because the class will always tell. It will always tell. And you might get lucky, like I'm Nottingham Forest. You might get lucky, But
All right.
things do change in the Premier League, though. That's the thing. You don't know. We don't know at the moment. But at the moment, Tottenham aiming so high at the moment, trying to think we need to run before we can walk. And I don't think we realise that this isn't just gonna just be straightforward. And I don't think we know who we really are. What do we want to achieve? I don't think we know. I think we're trying to run before we can walk. Really, for me. Hopefully, I'm not waffling. Hopefully, you understand what I'm talking
No,
about.
I totally understand. Like, there's a lot of people that agree with what you're saying. There's like, if you, I've been on a few streams. I've heard a few people say it that if you actually look at it, Spurs had won 2 titles. Yeah, 2 titles, 2 championships in the '60s. But other than that, we've won obviously the European League, and then we've won FA Cups and League Cups. Do you know what I mean? So if you compare it to an Aston Villa, actually, it's only the recent history we've got on in the Premier League which makes us bigger, because we kept finishing in the top 4, which made Sky create the Big Six, because there was no such thing as a Big Six. There wasn't even a Big Four before. It was just the top 2 teams, and the top 2 or 3 teams, that they're the ones that got into the European competitions before. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, when you break it down, who actually are Tottenham? Like, where are we in the pecking order? Are fans overestimating where we are? Are we underestimating where we are? It's a conversation to be had. Do you know what I'm saying? What did the board think we are versus what fans think we are? What are expectations of the fans? Are fans lowering their standards, or fans heads in the clouds too much? Do you know what I mean? So it's not always an easy conversation to have as a fan, because as a fan, you want to think of your club in the highest esteem. You want your club to be at the best. There was times we were finishing above Liverpool consistently. There was times we were finishing above Arsenal consistently as well. There was a time when we were finishing above all these teams. Now you've got your Nottingham Forests, Aston Villa. If Aston Villa finished above us last season, they're going to finish probably above us, possibly again above us this season again. I know they're 10th or wherever they are, but there's a possibility they could still finish above us. So then things are changing and chopping all the time. And like, if fans aren't happy of us being in that type of bracket where you're saying we're like the 8th or 7th best team, or the 6th best team, or the 5th best team, and they think, then we need to speak up. We need to demand more from our club, basically. But
I don't agree with you about it not being an easy conversation. I think it's an easy conversation for me, because at the end of the
no,
day,
well, I say it's not an easy conversation because, like, when we're talking, like, how hard the Andrew in, Andrew out conversation is. Do you know what I mean?
well, yeah,
Without
but
people getting upset.
I don't think
Without
it's.
people getting upset, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
People be
yeah,
like,
again, I'll go back to what we said in the last stream. Facts don't care about your feelings.
yeah, I hear that, but I hear that, but like, look, when we're in a conversational space, people will label you as negative or positive. That will tell you
Yeah, but
everything you need to know.
like I say,
Go on, yeah, go on.
listen. This is a good conversation. Welcome to the conversations we have on the phone for 2 hours, guys, on in the chat. By the way, but that's not having a go at you. By the way, it's this is a compliment. By the way, because this man knows football. But the point I'm making is right. Okay, all right. Is that it's an easy conversation because we've been here before. Ashmatic. It's an easy conversation. You know what I mean? And like I say, if you're not accountable for what you're doing, right, we've got to be accountable for what we do, right? We are accountable for what we do, right? The guy that I don't want to talk about because I want to keep it on football, the guy that is the chairman of the club is accountable for what he should be doing for the football side. But what he does, what he does do is right. He doesn't make it accountable for himself as a football guy, right? For the football, which is why it's gone completely awry and where we are at the moment. But he still gets the money that he earns. So how is that fair? How is that fair? It's like me saying, right? Well, I haven't done my job properly, but I still get my wages at the end of the week. You know what I mean?
And
I
what,
still
bonus?
I still haven't what is it, achieved my my targets. You know, my targets in terms of my sales targets. Oh, but I still get I still get my bonus.
Yeah, I mean, look,
You get what I'm saying? So it's like for
I'm
me,
saying something different though. I'm saying like
yeah.
online, for example, certain people won't come on certain channels and have these type of conversations because they perceive certain people to be not in line with their views. When I think it should be the opposite. When you have two people, three people, whatever the panel is, people having different views. And when you have different views, you learn a lot more in that space. That's what I'm talking about. Do you
Oh
know what I
no,
mean?
I absolutely agree. Listen, Smatter, you know I agree with you.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know, but I'm just saying that online. I'm just literally having this conversation.
unfortunately,
I'm
this
just
is
having
what.
a conversation with
But,
you
but
online. So I'm saying, like, in general, it's a
it,
conversation. The reason why I'm bringing it up is I'm hoping that people are watching it. Other content creators are watching it, and I'm not even talking about coming on my channel. I'm just talking about coming on any channel, like, because there's some people who go, I'm not going on that channel because that particular channel have a different viewpoint to where I stand at, and I only want to have these type of conversations. I don't want to be challenged at all, and I want to make. And listen, you're well within your right to make the content that you want to create and you want to make. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think we'd be a lot further along if we were collaborating a lot more, having these type of conversations, and growing as uh it'll help the fan base to grow because we'll learn. And there could be that someone that's Levy in, for example, that could absolutely school all of us on Levy.
Asthmatic,
You know what I mean?
asthmatic. It's one of the things that I would love to happen, but and listen, you're absolutely spot on because you know there's people out there that I do not agree with, but I love to stream with them because they get the best out of me, Mr. Box Office himself.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
but you know, I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy. You know what I mean? And for me it 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 broadens your horizons, and you know you start to realize that you know there are things in common you have with certain people as well. So for me, I think it's important. For me now though,
Mm.
I don't care anymore because in the
I know
same
you don't
time
care.
because it's not nothing against anybody,
Mm,
but it gets to a point where you've done this, like I say, and I don't want to say that I'm like a broken record, but when you've experienced what I've done for the last 5 years, when you know that you've said the kind of similar things and stuff, and you're not really achieving your team's not achieving anything, and you've done it for so long, been a supporter for so long, you kind of realize that you know there's only so much you can do. You know, there's only much you can say, and you just got to let it tick along and see what happens at the end of the whole cycle. You know what I mean? And this is
mm.
why I'm saying at the moment, wait to the end of the season. Let's see where we're at the moment. You see what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
agree with that.
Because that's when I can start saying, oh, now I can say make my judgment on what I need to say now. But
Mm,
my judgment has always been the same because I've always been that sort of stubborn person in that sense. You know what I mean?
mm, mm, mm,
Which is maybe a detriment, but also it's good because it makes me realize that you know I've got certain values. You see what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm,
And
mm,
with my team, I've seen this before, and I only go on history. Like I say, facts doesn't do anything for feelings. You know what I mean? You know, and
mm,
and that's the thing with Tottenham. You know, if we look at history, especially with our youngsters and the way that the history of managers,
mm,
the positions that we've been the last how many seasons, there is a you know a similarity. You know what I mean? And it's only like we've been second um in recent times. You know, no, under Poch I think it was
yeah.
right, but mainly it's like fourth down to eighth. That's been our really positions really mainly. We've
Mm,
been like really about top six, top five. You know,
mm,
you know, not like we're not like the dizzy heights at the top, aren't we?
mm,
You know what I mean? It's only now we're seeing that there has been a really massive drop off. You know what I mean? So I just don't. That's why I'm not really expecting too much. And I'm the thing is the reason why now I think I've kind of got to that point now is that I'm fed up of seeing other teams doing better than us, bruv. I'm fed up of seeing it. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, just show me now. You know what I mean? So
I hear it,
it's just I absolutely agree with you. I think we should all do that and then but I think there's lots of politics in these sort of things. Which I mean at the end of the day I ain't got time for it because I left that out the door when I come on stream or come online. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's I'm just waiting for the time tomorrow because I bet we do beat Man City tomorrow, and then you'll see the fan base.
Glorious.
And to be fair, the more that we're successful, I love to see some of these Ange fans come out, Ange lovers come out because then they're out to play. You know, they want to play. You know what I mean? And Mr. Box Office loves to play. Loves to. Okay, maybe I need to change
on
my
that
word.
note, we're gonna end the
Sorry
stream.
about that. No. What's debate? Yeah, let's do it diplomatically. Debate.
Well, listen,
Because I can't say play because that could be looked as different things. You know what I mean? You can't say that.
listen, my mind's clean, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, big yourself up, Mr. Box Office, and
big up.
We can also find Mr. Box Office on his channel called Mr. Box Office TV.
Yeah,
he's going to be mixing it up, doing things a bit differently because he wants to shake up the world on YouTube.
Yeah,
you know, you've heard his opinion many a times, but yeah, he's gonna start mixing it up a little bit. But yeah, big up to the chat as well, man. Listen, make sure you subscribe. Don't just be like, yo, big up Box. Make sure you hit that subscriber button, man, because he's giving us gems right now, and he wants Ange fans as well. He doesn't want Ange out. He wants Ange in his chat. So if you're Ange in and you are listening to this, or even if you're Ange out, make sure you give him a like and subscribe. And make sure you give me a like and subscribe on the way out. Obviously, there will be a post-match tomorrow, but it won't be for just Spurs. It will be for other clubs as well, because we will be doing a rival show. But yeah, come and find us, man. Come and find us. So I know people will be watching a lot of Spurs post shows, but we'll still be here, man. So make sure when you finish watching those shows, pop over, man. We'll be here having that rival talk, man. But yeah, man, big up. Anything coming up, Box Office, before I leave?
A few shows, hopefully at the end of the week. Yeah, we're still working on it, bro. Still working on it. But yeah, I'll be back soon. I'll be back soon.
1-1. You said 1-1.
Yeah.
1-1. I'm gonna try to be cheeky. I'm gonna say 2-1. 2-1 Spurs. I'm gonna be cheeky. Be shameless. 2-1. Why not?
We're both positive. Don't clip it and don't get used to it. Anyway, moving on.
Exactly. That's it. There you go, man. But yeah, man, please make sure you do like, you do share, you do subscribe on the way out, man. Big up, obviously, Josh as well. I forgot to say, Josh was in the building.
Big up, Josh.
And big up Marlon as well, man. Love for the love. And as always, come on.